The California 500, presented by Napa. Brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running. Lawn Boy, making mowing easier. The EverStart battery, all the cold cranking power your truck, car, boat, or mower will ever need. Available at Walmart.
43 cars going down the backstretch here at California Speedway, getting set for racing coming up. Today's field, 19 Fords, 16 Chevys, and 8 Pontiacs. Right now, Ford has the advantage in the manufacturers' battle in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Now here's today's EverStart Walmart grid, and again, they're lining up according to points. So that means that Jeff Burton is on the pole on the Exide Ford, and the Quality Care Ford of Dale Jarrett is alongside. Second row, another Ford, that's Mark Martin, Batesville, Arkansas driver, and Bobby Labonte in a Pontiac driving number 18. The third row, the Chevy of Jeff Gordon from Pittsboro, Indiana, and the Miller Lite Ford driven by Rusty Wallace from St. Louis. The rookie, Tony Stewart, lines up on the inside of row number 4. Outside is Terry Labonte. Then we have Dale Earnhardt and Mike Skinner, who are actually tied for 9th in the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings. As we take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, BP. Now, we talked about how qualifying was rained out on Friday. They did have 2.5 hours of practice yesterday. Now, is that enough for these guys?
I think so, Bob, because most weekends they only get actually about 2 hours of practice before a race. The practice on Friday afternoon is pre-qualifying practice, and that's what it is. It's practice for qualifying. So they had 2.5 hours to get ready for the race. Although in NASCAR Today, the show just prior to this race, we heard a lot of guys talking about making wholesale changes this morning on their race car. A lot of guys not very happy with their setup.
We've had a variety of weather conditions. As a matter of fact, this weekend it's been cloudy and rather foggy all morning. But now as we look out toward the backstretch, we're actually beginning to see some sun pop through. And so track conditions, it would appear, are going to change all day long.
Yes, they are, because as it gets sunny, the track will change, and the setup on the cars, the springs, the shocks, the things you need to get these cars around these corners, that will change as the weather changes.
Last drivers in the field are lining up according to the postmark on their entry blank. And Derek Cope will have the final starting position, number 43 starting position of the Jimmy Dean Pontiac.
And you see, Derek Cope will be carrying an onboard camera today, the Jimmy Dean onboard camera. Ted Musgrave also has the onboard camera, the Remington Arms onboard. He'll be starting back in 35th spot. Wally Dallenbach will be starting 22nd. Left Budweiser on board. Sterling Marlin, the Coors Light onboard camera, he starts in 17th position. Chad Little, hope he doesn't do any grass mowing today. He'll be starting in 16th spot. Jeremy Mayfield, the Napa onboard, the Mobil 1, 14th. Rusty Wallace, the Miller Lite camera, in 6th spot. Bobby Labonte, the Circuit City onboard camera, in 4th spot. And Mark Martin, the Valvoline onboard camera, he starts inside that second row.
250 laps, 500 miles here this afternoon. The purse more than $2.5 million. We've seen relatively few caution flags in these races, and so they should be able to go long distances before we have cautions. At least that is the hope as we get set for competition. Jeff Burton and Dale Jarrett lead the others slowly off of corner number 4 in front of a packed house of over 87,000 people. The fans are on their feet. The green flag is out, and here we go with the 3rd annual California 500 presented by Napa. Off the corner, and Jarrett is going to lead lap number 1. Running side by side in second position, Jeff Burton and Bobby Labonte. Jarrett led 49 laps here in 1997. The battle for second continues to be a good one. That's Rusty Wallace back in 4th, and now Bobby Labonte has second position, and Johnny Benson's off the pace.
I'm told he got out of shape getting off turn 2 and lost several positions. You can see Bobby Labonte, the Interstate Batteries car, driving down to the inside, trying to take the lead away from DJ. He will lead that lap. Bobby Labonte.
NASCAR considers any track a mile or longer as a super speedway, and right now Bobby Labonte is the leader in super speedway points, accumulated so far in 1999 by 17 over Jeff Burton. That's the way they run right now on the track. And here comes Mark Martin to the inside of Rusty Wallace.
You see Jeff Gordon on the outside in the 24 car, trying to make the move on the outside.
Is the defending champion of this event. Bobby Labonte hangs onto the wall, and now Benson has crashed. Well, we told you how he almost crashed on lap number 1 and slowed down, and now he has crashed and damaged that car severely.
And we see Johnny moving around in the car. I would think that he will signify that he is okay.
Bill Weber has more.
Well, Johnny Benson just ready.
Problem here in the early going for Johnny has severely damaged his car. So the caution is out after only 3 of 250 laps so far. Bobby Labonte is leading Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin.
You are the man. Don't miss red-hot rookie Juan Montoya in Champ Car Racing's Rio 200, May 16th on ABC.
Oh, this kid is good.
ABC's coverage of the Kart FedEx Championship Series continues with the 5th race of the season, the Rio 200. Juan Montoya, winner of the Grand Prix of Long Beach, will race against the defending champion Greg Moore. That's Sunday, May 16th at 4 o'clock Eastern Time here on ABC Sports. We're under caution here at California Speedway because of an incident involving Johnny Benson. The caution coming out on lap number 3.
Goes in turn 3, gets a little bit high. And he had a problem a couple laps before that, or 1 lap before that. And the car just suddenly swaps in and backs in the fence. Jerry Punch?
Well, Johnny has climbed out of his damaged Cheerios for Johnny. What happened out there?
Not sure. I mean, it swapped ends. I mean, I got loose into 1 down there. I was at the beginning there. I was just in the wrong groove there and got loose. And then it was fine. Like I say, I just went down in turn 3 and it come around so fast. I don't know if something broke or not, but it made for a long day for us, there's no doubt. I think it's pretty much junked car. We're probably pretty much done. But, you know, these guys have been working hard, and we've just been having such a bad year. But like I say, they're doing such a good job, and it's just unfortunate.
Tough break for Johnny Benson. Not much left of this Cheerios forward, front and back, heavily damaged. Probably not going to make it back on the racetrack. Let's go to John.
Kyle Petty has been in. They changed 4 tires and taped up some openings on the grill. The reason is the car was a little bit tight, and also the temperatures weren't up to what they would like them, so they put some tape on the grill. That'll increase the downforce on that front nose and help him turn through the corners a little bit more. Also down here on pit road, had several cars come in and top up with fuel, including Elliott Sadler and Joe Nemechek.
Now, Benny, when Kyle came in and got the nose taped off, exactly what does that do to the handling of the car?
Well, as the air, if you keep air from going through the grill, and that will be more air on the nose of the car, and then more downforce on the front, therefore loosen the back of the car. The more you push down on the front, the looser the back becomes. And that's what they're trying to do, is trying to loosen the car up a little bit, also trying to make the water temperature come up a little bit. So the tape did both jobs, more water temperature and loosen the car.
Well, there were several that came in and made adjustments and took on some fuel during that brief caution that we had, but everybody up front stayed out there. And the pace car has exited the racetrack, and we're set to go back to competition with Bobby Labonte at the point.
Jeff Gordon trying to get a run on Mark Martin, as we see Jeff Burke trying to get a run on Bobby Labonte.
First 4 cars nose to tail, then the side-by-side battle between Jeff Gordon in 24 and Mark Martin in 6. That's Tony Stewart in the 20 right behind. Last week's winner Dale Earnhardt in the black number 3.
Gordon has made that pass.
Jeff Gordon was the fastest during both of the practice sessions yesterday in the morning, a 90-minute session, and then during happy hour yesterday afternoon. On board the Miller Lite Ford of Rusty Wallace, looking to Jeff Gordon, who tries to get to the inside of Rusty.
Has racetrack down there, makes that move. So Jeff Gordon not content with passing Mark Martin. He's going to try to get Rusty Wallace as well. And we see this is a battle for the 4th position. We're looking up at Dale Jarrett. He's currently 3rd. And Rusty has to give some room for Jeff Gordon on the inside. Pretty good battle for that spot.
Good battle. Rusty just not willing to give it up. But now will surrender it to Gordon, and now may have to deal with Mark Martin. So Gordon now in the 4th spot, and here comes Mark Martin up beside Rusty Wallace. These overhead shots courtesy of the Pennzoil Copter Cam, which will be in the skies over Fontana, California all afternoon. Still a little bit hazy, but the sun is beginning to peek through. And now Mark Martin takes the spot from Rusty Wallace, so move Mark up to 5th.
And you were just looking at the very edge of your screen back there. You saw Terry Labonte almost lose control up in turns 3 and 4. There we see Labonte with 3 abreast for a second, as Sterling Marlin is trying to get by. Also Mike Skinner.
Sterling Marlin running back in 12th position in the Coors Light car. That's Terry Labonte up ahead.
As Jeremy Mayfield in the 12th car in front of between Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte. An unusual paint job for Jeremy Mayfield. He was celebrating the Kentucky Derby. Battle for 3rd spot. Jeff Gordon continues on his march toward the front.
He started in 5th spot, took over 4th, and now moves into 3rd position. And there's a good example, Benny, of how wide this racetrack is and how many grooves and lanes you've got to work in out there.
Certainly. Down the front straightaway, I think they can put 8 cars abreast at speed and not really have any kind of problem.
This track is similar to the one in Michigan. Both facilities owned by Roger Penske. The banking here at California just a little bit less than it is at Michigan. There is Ernie Irvan to the inside of Michael Waltrip in the 7 car. Now here comes the 28 of Kenny Irwin, and Jeff Gordon is set on taking 2nd spot away from Jeff Burton, and does so.
Man, Jeff Gordon was the fastest car in both practices here on Saturday. It looks like he's going to try to be the fastest all day long during the race. We see Kenny Irwin trying to get by Michael Waltrip. Michael is up high. Let's go on board with Wally Dallenbach and watch this battle in front of him.
Battle for 17th position.
Michael Waltrip got a great run in that Phillips car here. We see Labonte goes high, and here comes Jeff Gordon for the lead.
And so at the conclusion of lap number 13, Jeff Gordon grabs the lead, driving from this 5th starting position. Napa field summary will show you the points as of now.
Jeff Gordon just in that half of car. We see Mark Martin down on the inside of Dale Jarrett trying to take over the 4th spot.
And we understand the 9 car is off the pace. Jerry Nadeau. There he is being passed going down the backstretch. Elliott Sadler goes by him on the inside. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon with now about a 2.5 length car length advantage over Bobby Labonte.
Last lap, Jeff Gordon, the leader, was the fastest car in the top 6. We have a computer inside that we can. Jeremy Mayfield trying to get by his teammate Rusty Wallace.
Jeremy Mayfield is from Owensboro, Kentucky, and there you see the salute to the 125th running of the Kentucky Derby that was held yesterday. As a matter of fact, we understand that Mayfield actually took some laps in a car on the track in which they run the Kentucky Derby, and he was urged to do some donuts, but he refused. Now the battle is for 2nd spot. Jeff Burton to the inside of Bobby Labonte, and Jeff goes to 2nd.
Mark Martin on board Cameron the Valvoline Ford, watching Bobby Labonte, Jeff Burton's battle. Look at Martin just close in on Bobby Labonte getting in the corner. You hear drivers talking about I'm loose getting in or it's pushing getting in. You see Bobby Labonte has some type of problem getting in the corner because he had to back off a great deal more than Mark Martin. to do is back up to speed, so apparently he just got out of shape going down in the corner.
He's dropped back to the 38th position, however. Here comes Gordon around once again. And the interval between first and second is 54 hundredths of a second. About a half-second advantage for Jeff Gordon over Jeff Burton. The top 10 running within 4 seconds of each other. More after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. These early laps here at the California 500 presented by Napa. Well, the crews are watching and communicating with their drivers, trying to get an idea of how the car is handling. Because, again, there was no qualifying. They've had 2.5 hours of practice in which to dial the car in. And besides that, Benny, this is, of course, only the third race. And so the book, as they say, isn't very big here at California.
That's true. See, last lap, Jeff Burton running in second spot a little bit quicker than Jeff Gordon.
When we went to break, he was about a half-second behind, and now he's about a car length behind.
But what happens when you get up behind someone at these racetracks here, Indy, Michigan? When Jeff Burton drives up behind Jeff Gordon, he loses the air on the nose of his car. We talked about earlier with Kyle Petty. The air, as it hits the nose of the car, it pushes that front end down. When you lose that, you start getting some push off the corner. You turn the steering wheel, but the car continues to want to go straight. And I think Jeff Burton is experiencing some of that right now.
In the pack, we have a battle going on. Here is Bobby Hamilton. Oh, and they're 3 abreast. And we've got a battle for the lead as Jeff Burton decides he wants to lead here for a while. And so he reassumes command of the race. But back here, we've got a lot of good competition. That's Steve Park in the #1 car, sliding to the inside of Kenny Irwin and now trying to take the spot from Wally Dallenbach.
Steve Park started back in 30th spot. This is the battle for about 20th position. He tries to get on the inside. And that white car right behind this group is David Green, who started in 40th place, has worked his way up to about 25th.
Steve Park did not compete here last year because he was suffering the injury previously in the year.
Kevin LePage trying to get on the inside of Bill Elliott.
And here comes Green, BP.
There comes David Green. Wisely backed off, decided not to make it 3 wide.
John Kernan.
David Green, after happy hour yesterday, was really looking forward to the race today. He would have liked to have qualified on Friday because, as you can see, he has a very fast race car. Just talking with his car owner, Larry Hendrick, because now he takes a shot at Kevin LePage to pick up another position. That is a brand new race car and a new type of body that a new person putting the bodies on that has not been putting the bodies on before. So apparently, this is all part of their reorganization of that team, and it looks like what they're doing is pretty good because he is headed to the front.
He sure is. He's moved up very steadily since the drop of the green flag. Started back in 40th. Right now is running in 24th position at the end of 24 laps. He had a top 20 finish here last year, starting 19th and finishing in 18th. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon continues to lead, but it's a close race with Jeff Gordon.
And look at him, 3 wide of Steve Park on the inside of Wally Dallenbach. Meanwhile, Bobby Hamilton on the outside. Hamilton backs off, let those 2 guys go in the corner side by side.
Dallenbach with a good run last week at Talladega despite some nose damage to the car that messed up the aerodynamics, but he still came home in 20th position at Talladega last week. And for a taste of the race, let's check out the telemetry. Jimmy Dean telemetry from Wally Dallenbach.
See Wally Dallenbach going down the backstretch. 8,500, about 194 miles per hour, 197. This is down in turn 1. He'll just touch the brakes a little bit to get the car slowed down so he can turn it, get it going the other direction. What, down 150 miles per hour in the corner?
Speeds ranging from about 150 to almost 200 miles an hour. Let's see if he can achieve that down the back stretch.
No, he won't, Bob, because the tailwind is down the front stretch. He has that headwind going down the back. So there's a 10 mile per hour, about 7 or 8 mile per hour difference between the front and back stretch. Now, once again, down the front stretch, accelerated.
And a slow car moving down the back stretch is Dave Marcus. He's got the car down on the apron of the racetrack. Hope he can make it all the way around to the pits and we don't have to go to a caution situation here.
Looks like he's going awfully slow. There was a turn-in back there, but Marcus, I guess, thought he was going fast enough to make it back to pit road. We'll see.
One previous appearance here at California 97, Dave finished in 40th position. Mike Skinner in 31. The 20 car is Tony Stewart. The 43 is John Andretti, the winner at Martinsville a few weeks ago.
You see Mike Skinner going by. He's currently running in 13th spot, started 10th, so he's lost about 3 spots in the Lowe's Chevrolet.
Chad Little has not had a good race here in the early going. Let's get an update from him from the pit area.
Well, Bob, the caution has just come out, and this will be a break for Chad Little's team. His car is very, very loose and has been since the beginning of the race. They'll get a chance to work on it along with everybody else.
And the caution is for Dave Marcus, whose car did not make it around to the pit entrance. It's the second caution of the afternoon.
And we'll see wholesale pit stops now and chassis adjustments.
29 laps are completed. Of the 250, the pace car has picked up the leader of the race, Jeff Burton. Safety vehicles going out onto the racetrack to assist Dave Marcus in getting off the track and to see if there was any debris when he slowed down.
See Ted Musgrave in Remington car. He's running back in about 35th spot. Sterling Marlin got a pretty good run going today.
Currently running in 8th position. Bobby Labonte is in 5th spot.
Right in front of him is Jeremy Mayfield as he looks back at Bobby Labonte. He's in 4th spot. We got the first top 10 covered up in cameras, don't we, Bob?
Should say we do. There's Mark Martin, who's running in 3rd spot. Back to 7th place, Rusty Wallace. Even got one in the pace car.
As the pace car comes off turn 4, let's see how these cars are going to make pit stops. Yes, I think everyone will dive in and make those maybe much needed adjustments.
We've got 2 cars not on the lead lap. Dave Marcus, who is slow in turn 4, necessitating the caution, and Ricky Craven has also dropped off the lead lap. Here's Jerry.
Jeff Gordon comes in for his first scheduled pit stop of the day, saying the car is a little bit loose, but not much of an adjustment. They put a bar in the right rear. They're going to take a half a round out. Eric takes a half round out. The crew now coming to the left side for 4 tires. Most drivers complaining of the cars being a little bit loose. How about Jeff Burton, Bill?
Jeff Burton is thrilled with the handling on his car. Remember, John Kernan talked about how they've changed everything. He loves the way it's handling. Burton gets 4 tires and fuel. They want to tighten it up just a little bit.
Is going to lead the procession off of pit road. Jeff Burton drops in 2nd, then Wallace and Gordon and Mayfield looks like in 4th.
And Kenny Irwin leaves pit road. Here comes the Steve Park automobile. Full flagman down the stop go guy that got cars on both sides of it.
That's right, Kenny Irwin.
Man, there's got to be some hazard pay involved in that.
To the inside. So caution number 2 is out here at California Speedway and the California 500 presented by Napa. More of our live coverage in just a moment here on ABC. About to go back to racing here at California Speedway. What do crew members do Monday through Thursday? Well, among other things, they practice for their pit stops, and boy, it shows on Sunday.
It's nothing but high-speed ballet. Watch the catch can man. That's Chris Anderson. He holds the gas can while Mike Belton, the gas man, goes around to get the other can. They toss the can over. Now watch Mike. He doesn't go over there until the left rear tire changer. Kevin Gilman comes around. As soon as Kevin is around, then he walks in and puts the other gasoline in the car. Kevin finishes, Barry Muse lets the car down, and Jeff Gordon is off and running.
Let's show you a Coke pit summary now, where everybody was when they went into the pits and where they are now. Jeff Burton went from 1st to 2nd. Gordon from 2nd to 3rd. Bobby Labonte from 5th down to 8th. The guy at the front of the field right now is Ward Burton. And you can see how Ward was 10th when the caution came out and now is 1st. How come he picked up so many spots there in the pit area, Jerry?
Bob, two reasons. First of all, Ward only changed right side tires because the car was tight coming off the corner, and Tommy Baldwin, crew chief, didn't want to put fresh left sides on and make the car tighter. Secondly, their two-tire stop till he get full of fuel was 9.28 seconds. A great two-tire stop has Ward toward the front. Let's go to Bill.
Well, this is the left front tire off of Dave Marcus's car. What happened to bring out this caution, the fender support of the left front broke. So the fender went down, rubbed on the tire, and actually cut the tire, causing it to go flat. He was able to limp his way back into the pits. They've changed it. They have been in again trying to get the fender support fixed. Also, Ricky Craven has been on pit road. Remember, he had dropped to the back of the pack. The engine had developed a skip. They believe that it is because of a problem with the carburetor. Now to Bill Weber.
Well, at the beginning of the race, Jeff Burton was, well, pessimistic about how his race car was going to handle. But John did talk about how they changed everything. And about 15 laps into this race, Burton called in and said this car is a lot better than it was on Saturday. Frank, who's his crew chief, Frank Stoddard, you did a great job. I thought it would be better, but I never dreamed it would be this good. They had a great pit stop for 4 tires and fuel. When he followed his brother out on the racetrack, he said Ward's going to be sorry he took just 2 tires. We'll see what happens.
Getting set for resumption of the California 500. Back down to John Kernan.
Ricky Craven back in the pits. They have already changed carburetors. They are now tightening it down, but the engine is not fired right now, so he'll lose another lap probably here on pit road. But they do believe that a needle stuck one of the jets in the carburetor, so they decided to change the entire carburetor.
Both Ricky Craven and Dave Marcus are 3 laps down now, Benny.
Ricky Craven this year, the car has run well. He's met every show, but he just cannot run a race without some kind of problem.
He did win the Winston West race, however, here yesterday. Well, Sunday, May 30th, you'll be live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time as ABC Sports brings you America's greatest race, the 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500, where, of course, Eddie Cheever is the defending champion. It'll be the last Indy 500 and final race for Arie Luyendyk, one of the many stories to develop during the month of May at the Indy 500. Getting set for the green flag. Once again, it's Ward Burton, Jeff Gordon, Jeremy Mayfield, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt as we get set for more racing. Pace car is off. Here we go.
Well, a lot of these crews are watching Ward Burton and his success now with a 2-tire stop. They want to see just how well that's going to work, because some of them may want to try this later on if it works for Ward Burton.
This is the 5th time that Ward Burton has led in Winston Cup competition in 1999. Last led in Bristol before now. It's Dave Marcus, the lap car, 71, who's 3 laps down as a result of his flat tire.
Here comes Jeff Burton off the corner, got some position on his brother, and just drives up alongside. And here comes Jeff Gordon, Jeremy Mayfield.
The battle of the Burtons. Jeff on the inside of the racetrack and Ward to the outside. But Jeff takes the lead now as Jeff Gordon comes up beside Ward to try to take second. We ride along with Jeremy Mayfield.
This is the Napa Auto Parts onboard camera as he sees Jeff Gordon trying to get alongside Ward Burton, the cat car.
Ward giving him a good battle, but Jeff comes to second spot.
Looks like up in 3 and 4, that really those 4 tires seems to make that difference. Jeff Gordon, we saw Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon, both those guys be able to turn under Ward Burton and accelerate past him in that corner.
Ward holds off the challenge momentarily of Jeremy Mayfield. We watch from Mark Martin as Jeremy once again challenges down the backstretch, and this time will take 3rd position from Ward. And Mark Martin, the next to challenge Ward. Mark was inducted into the California Speedway's Motor Walk of Fame on Friday. He was the winner of last year's race here in California. Honored in bronze Sands and concrete. A plaque with his footprints added to the walk. And he's wheel to wheel with Ward Burton. Bill has a report on Rusty Wallace.
Bob, over the last 2 days, it's been documented how Rusty Wallace came all the way to California to test, then got here, and none of that stuff was working for him. So they made many changes to the car, took some information from his teammate Jeremy Mayfield's car. His car hasn't been that good in the first 30 laps, so on that pit stop, they made an air pressure adjustment, a track bar adjustment, 2 rounds of wedge, tires and fuel, and did it all in 17.63 seconds to try and improve the Miller Lite Ford.
Goes to the outside of Mark Martin as they come down through this D-shaped oval in front of the grandstand, and Rusty gets the position from Mark. Must be very discouraging, Benny, to spend all that money, come out here and testing, and basically you test at qualifying. Qualifying's rained out.
That really is amazing. It's, what, 2,500 miles here. They brought the car out, spent 2 days testing, put the car out here, then took the car back to Charlotte to get it ready to come back for the race. So this car has made 2 trips from coast to coast almost.
Jeff Burton leads with Jeff Gordon running in second position, about a car length or 2 behind him. As they check the tire pressure down in the pit area, and the fans are loving it, soaking up the sunshine that we're seeing now here at the California 500 presented by Napa. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Jerry Punch, Bill Weber, and John Kernan back at California Speedway in Fontana. The California 500 by Napa underway. And a good battle back here for about 6th, 7th, and 8th position. On board with Rusty Wallace, who is 6th.
And there's Dale Earnhardt moving by these guys, moving in the top 10, well into the top 10. Taste of the race from Jimmy Dean Sausage. Watches Rusty Wallace accelerates off turn 2 down the backstretch. See, 8,000 RPMs up to 84, 85, 190 miles per hour down the backstretch. That means Rusty should run somewhere around 200 going down in turn 1.
And about 45% of braking through the corner now, but as he comes off corner number 4, it's pedal to the metal.
Has cars in front of him and a car of Earnhardt behind pushing. 197, 198, 200 miles per hour. But he can't keep the car on the bottom when he gets down in the corner. Earnhardt closes up on the inside.
An incredibly popular victory last weekend at Talladega by Dale Earnhardt, winning only his 2nd race in his last 101. Before last weekend, his most recent victory was at the Daytona 500. Kenny Irwin in 28. 10 is Ricky Rudd, and the 5 is Terry Labonte. And this is back in where? About
15th, 16th, and 17th. Here's Labonte, gets by Rudd, pulls up alongside Kenny Irwin.
Ricky Rudd started in 36th position, quickly gained 6 spots, and has been moving up since. He was as high as 12th, back to 15th, and now is in 16th position. And Tony Stewart is also coming up on this group.
You see Tony Stewart alongside Kevin LePage in the 16 car.
There is Bill Elliott
and Kyle Petty.
Yep. John Kernan has an update on Elliott's problem.
Bob, during that pit stop, Bill and his crew talked it over, said, you want 4 tires or 2 tires? And Bill said, well, let's just change the right side tires, because really we have nothing to lose. They were back toward the back of the pack anyway. So they did that, came out 9th, but they've lost a number of positions as the car just is not as fast as the other cars that have changed 4 tires. Bill told them the chassis is pretty good. It's just, hey, I only took on 2 tires. The other guys took on 4 tires.
And it's showing.
It's showing. And Ward Burton had the lead. Changed 2 tires. He now is 6 seconds behind the leader. He's still in 5th spot. He's 6 seconds behind the lead.
And the 30 car of Derek Cope is on pit road. John, what's the problem with Derek?
Bob, the last lap by, when Derek Cope came down by the start-finish line, you could hear the engine just a terrible, terrible mist. Very dramatic. There was also a puff of smoke coming out the exhaust pipe. So they have pulled him into the pit road. They're now talking about taking it behind pit wall to check things out to see if there is a problem. Derek talking to the crew now. They're going to pull it around into the garage area behind pit wall, pull the covers off and check it and see maybe if a rocker arm or something, there might have some kind of problem in the valve train.
Derek has missed 4 of the 9 races so far in 1999, failing to qualify. Now a battle. Here's Rusty Wallace looking back on Mark Martin. Rusty is 6th, Mark is 7th.
This is really uncharacteristic of Rusty, not running right on that white line, but we see he's taking the higher line through the corners, but it's working for him pretty well. Martin not able to gain anything that time. But unfortunately, Rusty's time is about a mile per hour slower than the leaders are running.
A year ago at this time, Rusty Wallace was the points leader in NASCAR Winston Cup competition by 36 over his teammate Jeremy Mayfield. He comes into the race this year in 6th spot. There is Ward Burton that we talked about, getting only 2 tires. Now it looks like he may be losing a couple of more positions here.
Rusty Wallace is giving it a shot. He's really running Ward high in the corner. And we see Martin. See, Rusty Wallace, not only did he pass Ward Burton on the inside, he also ran his line in there, which is the high line, where Ward Burton really needed to be, so Ward had no choice but to wisely back off, let these guys have the spot.
He was a little loose through that corner, lost 2 positions, and Ward Burton now drops back to 7th. Now Martin may be testing Rusty. Side by side at the line to complete lap number 51. And Mark takes the position.
Rusty just wisely backed off. Here comes Ward Burton trying to take that spot back. I think Rusty just kind of wisely backed off and let those guys get in line. We're talking about he and Martin, because if they can continue racing side by side, the leaders outrunning them about 2 miles per hour.
Now it's about 7 1/4 seconds in that battle for 6th position up to the leader of the race, who is Jeff Burton. Jeff is one of 6 drivers who have led so far. Jeff has led most laps, 25. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
The California 500 presented by Napa. Brought to you by AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it. Quaker State for protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions. Polaris Watercraft. Ride the best. And Excite NASCAR Select, the official automotive battery of NASCAR.
The California 500 is 56 laps old, and we have a new leader. Jeff Gordon has gone to the front once again. Jeff Gordon has led 30 laps so far, and Gordon now has just led his 11th. We'll show you how Jeff got the lead from Jeff Gordon from Burton.
Got a great run off turn 4, just pulls alongside Jeff Burton. When he get down to turn 1, he moves up, uses a little air off the 99 car, and just drives that on the inside. And since they had such a great lead, I think Jeff Burton decided, what the heck, I don't think I will challenge this too much, because all we need to do is let this pack catch up with us. We can see that Jeff Gordon is just driving away from him. We see Robert Preston in the 77 car getting alongside Ricky Rudd, and that's for 22nd spot.
Here comes Steve Park, also up to challenge.
Rudd goes high. Steve Park tries to turn under. He does. Here comes Bill Elliott, the McDonald's car. Ricky Rudd lost a couple spots. This battle's about 20 seconds behind the leader, Jeff Gordon. Elliott tries to go by on the outside.
Ricky Rudd finished 11th here last year and was 3rd in the inaugural running of the California 500, but he is dropping back here. Meanwhile, a little bit further up the track, it's Tony Stewart in the 20 car and Sterling Marlin in the 40.
It's a battle for 14th. Right now, Tony Stewart has it. Sterling Marlin watches him go down in turn 1. We see Tony Stewart go down to the inside. Sterling Marlin trying to run a little bit higher.
Napa Field summary showing you the point standings. Just one change in the top 10 at the moment. Earnhardt up one spot into 8th. Rusty may have a problem, Bill.
Bobby is called in. He said he believes the battery is starting to go dead. They've taken a new battery off the crash cart down here and brought it to pit wall. He said right now he's only got 9 volts. Currently running 5th. We'll see what happens. But it's been a frustrating weekend for this team. They worked awfully hard to get ready for this race. Now they have to overcome perhaps another challenge.
Well, right now, Rusty is still holding on in 5th position, about 9 1/4 seconds back of Jeff Gordon. He's looking back on Dale Jarrett.
Rusty Wallace has a voltmeter inside his car, so he would be able to look at that and tell the crew that's where he got the 9 volts. He saw the meter that indicated the alternator was not putting out the 14 volts it normally does.
Rusty has not led yet here today, California, but he has led the most laps overall in 1999, 706 in 3 races. Well, our taste of the race telemetry from Jimmy Dean will show us if it's affecting the car's performance any.
We see 148 miles per hour, the slowest. Now Rusty will accelerate down the back. Probably should get up to around 100, between 185 and 190. So 187, 188, 189. He's using that high line. And once again, down the front stretch, Rusty, since he has that tailwind down the front stretch, will run a little bit faster. Should be around 195 to 198. Can you imagine 100? That's why they don't have speedometers in these cars, Bob. If they did, it'd scare the drivers to death.
They don't want to know, huh?
They don't. There's some things you don't need to know, and speed is one of them.
About 198, 199, real close to 200 miles an hour for Rusty. So the car seems to be performing okay at the moment. Pennzoil Copter Cam continues to fly overhead, keeping track of all the action on the far right of your screen. Here comes Bobby Labonte and Ward Burton.
Ward Burton still hanging in the top 10, despite that 2-tire stop that he made back on the caution flag. There's a good shot of the Caterpillar Pontiac right behind the Interstate Batteries Pontiac. And Bobby Labonte's another car that's running that high line like Rusty Wallace through the turns. Ward Burton makes up some ground in the middle of the turn, but Labonte gets that great run, that momentum off the corner.
Still 39 cars on the lead lap. Dave Marcus 3 down and Ricky Craven is 2 down. 3 abreast racing from the perspective of Sterling Marlin. Wally Dallenbach just ahead. Tony Stewart is up there along with John Andretti.
Tony Stewart trying to take over the 12th spot from Andretti. And there's Terry Labonte lurking back there as well.
5 cars running right together here. All battling for position. Now Dallenbach dives to the inside of the racetrack in an effort to get a spot from John Andretti.
And Tony Stewart works his way through this in all this group of cars. Tell you what, Tony Stewart is the real deal, isn't he, Bob?
He appears to be. He's had a very, very good early beginning to his NASCAR Winston Cup career. Started it off, of course, with the great qualifying effort at the Daytona 500. Followed that up with a 28th place finish at Daytona, but then has also recorded a career best 5th just last weekend at Talladega.
See Terry Labonte driving on the inside of these guys while they're battling side by side. That gives Labonte the run on him. He gets it off turn 4, moves down to the inside.
The 4 car of Bobby Hamilton is off the pace. Meanwhile, on the track, it's Ward Burton taking over the 7th position from Bobby Labonte, and now another battle for the lead as Jeff Burton has caught up to Jeff Gordon. There are battles all over this track, and Burton is back in front.
And the crowd, and the seats. Now Mike Skinner goes by his teammate Dale Earnhardt. That puts Earnhardt into the 8th spot. Jerry Punch, what's happening with Hamilton?
Unscheduled pit stop for Bobby Hamilton, the Kodak Chevrolet team, a flat left rear tire. He made it on the pit road by virtue of the inner liner only, but the outer carcass didn't really win. They changed 4 tires, and now Bobby is down and away.
Losing, however, a lap in the process. And David Green is in. A driver who's making a great run here, John Kernan.
Bob, just a few laps ago, David radioed in and told the crew, man, there's something wrong. I've picked up a terrible vibration. It's about ready to vibrate the mirrors off the car. They think it might have been a right rear tire, so they've changed rights already. They've changed lefts right now. They're about 10 to 12 laps early on their pit window, but they get all 4 tires changed, filled with fuel. He is down and away. Now to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, the Goodyear engineers are down here in Bobby Hamilton's pit to examine the tire. We told you the inner liner was still up, and that's why he's able to get the car back in without severe damage. That's a tire within a tire. And now some of the Kodak crew members looking with the Goodyear engineer. What they're trying to find is a puncture somewhere on the outside of the tire to make sure the tire didn't separate from the wheel. They would like to see some sort of a hole puncture in the tire or a tear from running over debris. So they'll examine the tire to try to decipher what happened, and they can tell their driver and make him a lot more comfortable in the car.
The combatants for 15th position are Terry Labonte, Sterling Marlin, and Kenny Irwin.
And we see, oh, look at Terry Labonte go in the corner and slide right up the top of the hill. And here comes Kenny Irwin on the inside of Sterling Marlin. We saw Terry Labonte up there battling with the 43 car and the 25 just a moment ago, so he's lost a couple of seconds on the racetrack.
He pushed up off the corner just ahead of Marlin, who had to get on the brakes, and that opened the door for Irwin, but Kenny has been unable to secure that position, number 15 from Sterling Marlin.
The hood of Sterling Marlin's car has a picture of John Wayne on there. They're recognizing the Duke out here this weekend at the John Wayne Cancer Institute.
Several cars with a little bit different paint scheme here this week. Phil Weber has more on Rusty Wallace. How's that problem?
Well, it's getting better, Bob, or the problem is going away at least. Whenever the battery or an electrical problem develops in these cars, they tell the drivers to shut off everything, and Rusty did. Everything except the tach. So a few laps ago, he turned off the tach, and the voltmeter came back up to 12.5. So right now, he's running around without the tach. He'll have to flip that back on when he comes down pit road so he doesn't get a speeding ticket. The car is handling good. He needs a little help getting off the turns. To Jerry Punch.
Well, seek and you shall find. Here in the 4 pit, they found a small puncture in the tires. Jeff Gordon makes a move to lead. Now back in the 4 pits, a small pinhole in the left rear tire right here became bigger and bigger, and that's the problem that caused the unscheduled pit stop in the lost lap for Bobby Hamilton. Let's check in with John.
We told you it might be a right rear tire on David Green's car. Actually, it was the left rear, but it wasn't a tire. Check out the wheel. This is where the wheel goes onto the studs. They're oblong. Apparently, the lug nuts worked their way loose, and the tire vibrated back and forth, causing it to form these shapes. So it was not a tire problem for David Green. The lug nuts worked their way loose.
And it does get real shaky in the car when that happens, doesn't it?
Boy, does it ever. See Rusty Wallace going by Dale Jarrett, taking over the 5th spot.
And there's the separation between 5th and 6th and the leader of the race. And it's been a good battle so far this afternoon between Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon. Burton has led 33 laps, and Gordon has led 22. 6 have led in the California 500 presented by Napa. 72 circuits have been completed. Dale Jarrett is on pit road. Here's Bill Weber.
And this is a routine pit stop under green for Dale Jarrett. 4 tires, and they will make a chassis adjustment. They freed him up on his first stop, trying to make the car handle a little bit better. Waiting for the chassis adjustment. A little bit of miscommunication there. Jarrett is away, smokes the tires as he leaves. Watch for the rest of the leaders to come in within the next 2 or 3 laps.
19.4 second pit stop for Dale Jarrett as he rolls out, and we should be seeing the other leaders coming in the next few laps. Right now, Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton are at the front of the field. Ray Evernham, the crew chief on Jeff Gordon's car, has been watching him up front all day. Rusty Wallace had an indication from the car that the battery was going bad, but they got it fixed. And Derry Cope, unfortunately, his crew takes the war wagon behind the wall, and Cope is out of the race. Johnny Benson also out of competition. There are currently 32 cars on the lead lap, and more pit stops are occurring as Rusty Wallace relinquishes his 7th position to make another pit stop. Here's Bill Weber.
And Rusty Wallace, his battery has improved a little bit, so that's not a problem. What they want to do is get the car a little better, a little flatter into the turns, and then help him off the turns. He's a little tight. Right now, into his pit stall. They go down to the right side to change tires, and we go to Jerry Punch.
Ward Burton in the Caterpillar Pontiac. First 4 tires changed today. Remember the earlier pit stop, lap 29? Just 2 right sides. Back to Bill.
Round to the left side tires going on, fuel going into Rusty Wallace's car. They made an air pressure adjustment. John Kernan.
Robert Presley is in a 4 tire change. Left side lift's going on. They also made a track car adjustment to try and tighten the car up.
The 28 car of Kenny Irwin also rolls down pit road as the 77 car exits the pit. Kenny comes in. Also, Kevin LePage is coming in. He has been running in the top 20. And the TV Guide Prime Star Ford.
All these guys making these pit stops now, they're just hoping that the caution flag will not come out until they make their pit stop. There's a second place car. Jeff Burton coming to you. Bill Weber.
It'll be a 4 tire stop for Jeff Burton. They will also make a chassis adjustment. The race leader on pit road after 80 laps here at the California Speedway. He started on the pole because he is the current Winston Cup points leader. So go around to the right side and make right side tire change as Jeremy Mayfield slides by. He's having a good run as well. We'll get 4 tires in his pit stall. We'll also make a chassis adjustment. The adjustment is completed to Burton's car, waiting to put on the left side tires. This is the car that Burton has taken to victory lane twice this season at Las Vegas and Darlington, and he's on his way to Jerry Punch.
The inaugural winner of the California 500, Jeff Gordon, comes down pit road, 4,200 RPMs, 55 miles per hour. Mark Martin already in his pits for 4 tires. They give Gordon a cold drink of water. They will make another chassis adjustment. Gordon's car still a little bit loose. Another half a round. Down to the left side of car number 24, DuPont team going to work left side tires. Left front, left rear, second can of fuel already in, left side on, and he is down and away. Let's go back to Bill.
Mark Martin now on pit road, had to thread the needle to get to his stall around Jimmy Spencer. They've already got the right sides on, and they also made a chassis adjustment. A good stop for the 6th bunch. Mark's away. Here's John.
Back is in. Wally Dallenbach is in. A 4 tire change. Left side's going on. They hand him a bag of ice to pull him down. Almost stalls the car, but keeps it going. Heads down pit road.
Boy, some great pit work there by many of the teams. 16.2 second stop for Mark Martin. Bobby Labonte now comes in. Bill?
And Bobby Labonte now down pit road, 82 laps on the board. Again, these all routine stops under green. His Pontiac comes to a stop. They swing around to the right side. A lot of drivers complaining they need their windshields clean. A chassis adjustment for the 18. His teammate is 2 stalls behind him. That's Tony Stewart in another Pontiac. Both had good qualifying spots and have run well here so far. Left side's on the Interstate Batteries Pontiac. Bobby Labonte is away, and momentarily, and now Tony Stewart will follow him down pit road. Good stops by both of the Gibbs teams.
As we look back, we can also see the 20 car of Tony Stewart. He has completed his pit stop and is back on the racetrack. The 31 car of Mike Skidder next to come in for service. Gets the low Chevy slowed down, slams on the brakes, hits the pit box, and the crew goes to work on the right side of the car. Dale Earnhardt, his teammate, has not made a pit stop yet and is currently shown as the leader of the race. Now the emphasis over to the driver's side of the car. Fuel is in, tires are on, and Skinner is away in 17.4 seconds. Moments ago from the crew cam, BP.
On Kyle Petty's car, this is the right front tire changer. Ricky Thomas goes over, takes those lug nuts off. Abbott Lloyd slams on that tire. Ricky picks up the air wrench. Round to the left side. Off. 5 lug nuts he's got to take off. Tire goes off. Abbott Lloyd puts the left front on, in position, ties him up. Come on, man, let's go. Jack this down, let's go.
The 28 car came down pit road, had the entire distance of pit lane to go because his is the first pit stall, and look what happened.
Well, they go around the car, and whoa, look out. He overshot his pit. Now, NASCAR will not allow that car to be pitted outside the box. He has to push the car back, get in position before John Bryant can put the jack under the car.
And the 40 car, we also understand, also had a problem. Let's look at him. He was in a little bit hot, had to slide it in at an angle. And the 3 car is out of gas, Jerry?
Bob, exactly. He came by the lap before they said pit. Next time by, he went into turn 1, said, guys, it's not going to make it. It just quit. We are out of gas. He is now coasting down pit road. He was the leader, and now dead stick. No engine running. He holds his left hand out the window with the palm up as if to say, hey, what happened? The car rolls in. They will make the tire change. Now the big question is, will it fire? Yes, the car refires. Well, now it's shut off again. They're trying to get more gas in the car. Now it refires. Made a chassis adjustment, tightened up a little bit, and now a frustrated Earnhardt is down and away. Let's go to John Kernan.
Jeffrey Bodine had assumed the lead to pick up 5 bonus points. Now he comes on to pit row where it'll be a 4-tire change. They went down on the track bar. Left side's coming off. A little bit of a slow on that left rear tire, but now they're getting it on waiting to get the lug nuts tightened. Jack is dropping down and away. Bodine could have gone, from what I'm told by his crew, could have gone about 10 more laps.
And he did stay out and lead a lap, and that means that he is leading his first lap of 1999. Most recent lap led was at Richmond last September. Mark Martin getting a tough time getting up to speed.
Well, it looked like he was off the pace in turn 1. I guess he was just going over because Jeremy Mayfield was pressing him. I guess Martin will go to let Jeremy go by. That is a battle for the 4th position.
With all the pit stops having been made, there is the leader of the race once again. Jeff Gordon back in command. Jeff Burton is running in 2nd position, and you can see how close the battle is still at the end of 87 laps. You're watching live coverage of the California 500 presented by Napa NASCAR Winston Cup competition from Montana. NASCAR Winston Cup drivers coming to the place that Roger Penske built back in 1997, all coming here with the hope of being the first to win at this magnificent palace of speed, 2 miles in length. But Jeff Gordon ended up as the inaugural winner of the California 500 presented by Napa 2 years ago, and he is up front in the 1999 edition. Now let's get you caught up on some of the other activity of the day. First of all, Dale Earnhardt, who has dropped back to 26th position. Here's Jerry Punch.
Bob, you got to wonder, how can a team that can win so many championships miscalculate on fuel for Earnhardt and let him run out of gas? Well, that's not what happened. It wasn't calculations at all. They were going to bring Earnhardt in a lap earlier, and they heard the spotter yell that the 75 car had slowed down, thinking maybe they would get a caution flag. What had happened was the 75 car of Musgrave had run out of gas and left Earnhardt on the racetrack 1 more lap, and in that lap, he too ran out of gas. Let's go to Bill.
Well, Chad Little started 16th and had high hopes for a great run here at California, but his car was loose in the early portions of this race. Well, on this most recent pit stop, they brought him in and put on just 2 tires and filled it full of gas. They pitted on lap 88, and that's critical. Yes, he did fall off the lead lap, but Chad Little is one guy that is clearly in a window that they would not have to make an extra pit stop if this race stays green. Fuel mileage could always be a factor when you start a race at California. If it turns out to be that way, Jeff Hammond and company may have the horse to beat. To John Kernan.
What about Jim Long and Jeffrey Bodine? They're thinking the same thing. Remember, they could have gone a few more laps before they pitted. They actually came in just after leading the lap just to kind of stay in sequence. So I just talked to Jim Long. He told me, he says, well, it's going to be close. We might be able to make it with only 1 more stop. But by my calculations, man, that's great fuel mileage.
Up front, meanwhile, Jeff Gordon continues to lead, but the 99 car of Jeff Burton is right there. And basically, Benny, here in the first nearly 100 laps, it appears as if these 2 cars are the ones to beat, and they are look to be equally matched.
I tell you what, it's just hard to say right now which car would be the best because they both have taken turns leading the race. Jeff Gordon's led about 40 laps. Jeff Burton's now led 33 laps. And meanwhile, the battle for 3rd spot is 5 seconds behind these 2 cars.
Other leaders, Bobby Labonte has led 11, Ward Burton 4, Earnhardt 2, Mike Skinner, Chad Little, Dale Jarrett, and Jeffrey Bodine have each led 1 lap. So we have had 9 leaders and 14 lead changes as we approach the 100 lap mark. The separation between first and second, there it is, officially about 35 hundredths of a second. Last lap, Jeff Burton ran a 173.5, but the fastest traveler was the 12 car of Jeremy Mayfield, who was running in third position.
At that time, Jeff Gordon had some traffic trying to put the 45 car, Rich Fickle, a lap down. Cost him some time. This is probably the biggest lead we've seen Jeff Gordon enjoy all race long. Now we go back to Jeremy Mayfield. There we see the battle going on between he and Mark Martin for that third spot, and that is 5 seconds behind the leader.
The car that Jeremy is driving debuted at the Indianapolis Brickyard 400 last year, qualified 12th. The cut tire forced him into the wall and relegated him to a 42nd place finishes. It has 3 other races to its credit this season at Rockingham, Darlington, and Texas. Worst finish, 5th.
If he keeps going, he's certainly going to beat that record today.
Back in 5th and 6th position, Rusty Wallace, who seems to have his battery problem solved. But he and Bobby Labonte are very close together.
And Ward Burton, as Labonte tries to move down on the inside of Rusty Wallace. Once again, battle for 5th spot. He put a tractor and trailer long ways between those 2 cars.
Well, that's what makes this so far a very safe facility. Nice and wide. You've got lots of room to run out there. Side-by-side battle between Bobby Labonte and Rusty Wallace as Ward Burton looks on.
Unfortunately for Bobby Labonte, Rusty Wallace is in his groove. That's where Labonte's been running all day. But right now, looking pretty good on the bottom of the racetrack.
Down there showing you the 27 cars on the lead lap. Several drivers are just 1 lap down. And then Ted Musgrave is 2, Dave Marcus 5, Ricky Craven is 6 laps down, and 2 cars are officially out of the race at this point. Derek Cope and Johnny Benson, who crashed in the early going.
Now Ward Burton trying to move alongside Bobby Labonte and take that spot away. So Bobby Labonte moved into 5th and is in jeopardy of losing that right now to Ward Burton. But look at Rusty Wallace drafting along with that 18 car, trying to help him to the front.
Burton way down low on the racetrack with those left side tires almost below the white line on the apron. Ward Burton in 1999 has completed the most laps of any other driver, 99.2% of the laps completed. Tony Stewart is in 8th position. The 31 of Mike Skinner runs in 9th. And Tony Stewart has narrowed the interval between himself and the leader of the race, Jeff Gordon, from 16.1 seconds on lap 91 to 14.6 on lap 95.
Well, look how consistent that Tony Stewart is. 40.9, 41.0, just 0.2 of a second, but the slowest and fastest lap in those 5 laps. But look, those 4 laps, just 0.1 of a second difference.
He's closing in, of course, also on this trio of cars running in front of him. It is Jeff Gordon leading by about 0.3 of a second over Jeff Burton as we continue to watch some of the action in the back of the pack. There's Jeff, and there's second place, Jeff Burton. Gordon and Burton at the front of the field once again. Exactly 101 laps are now completed. 250 will make up this race. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
It's not an easy job. You have to do windows. It's cramped. It's loud. The pace is frantic. The pressure's intense. And the competition's brutal. So when a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series driver tells you they've had a tough day at the office, take their word for it. This is NASCAR.
ABC Sports coverage of horse racing continues with the Pimlico Special presented by Visa. Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, the top 4-year-olds in older racing scheduled to race Freehouse will be returning to Pimlico for the first time since losing the 97 Preakness in a photo finish to Silver Charm. That's Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, live on ABC Sports. Well, Jeff Burton has reassumed command of the race, and the winner last week at Talladega, Dale Earnhardt, is about to go a lap down in 23rd.
I don't know. They called Earnhardt, and the passing is going to be very, very difficult. Where was it Jeff Gordon tried so hard? Was that Atlanta or somewhere this year tried so hard to put Earnhardt a lap down? Well, Jeff Burton's going to find out that's a pretty tough task to do.
Lost a lap, and here is this continuing battle among about 4 or 5 cars. Rusty Wallace, that's Bobby Labonte there in front of the group, but also Rusty Wallace, Ward Burton, Tony Stewart, and Mike Skinner.
Tony Stewart was trying to pass Ward Burton on the inside for about 5 or 6 laps. Now all of a sudden he decided, I think I'll try it on the outside because Rusty Wallace is up there. Maybe I can draft off that, and he finally made it work.
Here's a Hardee's Field summary showing the points positions right now. Everybody in the top 5 is staying put. And Skinner moving up 1 position. Ward Burton also up 1.
And Earnhardt is a lap down. Tony Stewart trying to get by Rusty Wallace. Oh, he moves up high, tries to take Rusty's line away. Rusty comes right back.
Still out there by Fender.
Mark Robertson is spot for Rusty, I'm sorry, Tony Stewart. Clear high. The sound, the sweetest sound of race car drivers ever hear. Your Mark.
That's my job.
Tony Stewart said that's just my job.
Tony Stewart up to 6th and going for the 5th position, held by Bobby Labonte right ahead of the 98 car of Rick Mast is not on the lead lap. He is in 33rd position, a lap down. And by the way, earlier we talked about how Ricky Rudd was still on the lead lap. He is off the lead lap right now in 30th position because he was caught speeding on pit road. And here is Stewart going to the inside of Bobby Labonte in the race for 5th.
You'll probably not get a very stiff challenge from Bobby Labonte. The fact that they're teammates with Joe Gibbs Racing.
Columbus, Indiana, Tony Stewart, Pep Boys Indy Racing League champion in 1997, goes to 5th position. On board with Bobby.
Tony Stewart's able to keep that car right on the white line to the corners. His teammate Bobby Labonte having to run up high.
I mentioned this stat last week, and I think it's worth repeating. The last time that a rookie finished in the top 10 in points in a season was back in 1980. Jody Ridley finished in 7th position. Now, Jeff Gordon in his rookie year of 1993 finished 14th. Dale Earnhardt finished 7th in points, but that was in 1979. So again, the most recent was in 1980, Jody Ridley. Coming into this race, Tony Stewart was 5th. Still Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon running 1st and 2nd.
Right now, Mark Martin seems to be gaining on these guys. He's only 3.22 seconds behind the leader, Jeff Burton. What did I say, 5 seconds just a few laps ago?
I don't think you did.
Well, Mark Martin really let that car drift right up against that outside retaining wall when he came off turn 4.
Mark Martin has not led a lap today, but coming into this race, he had led the most laps here at California Speedway, 176 in the previous 2 races. This is his 400th NASCAR Winston Cup start here this afternoon.
See Elliott Sadler in the Citgo car going a lap down to Jeff Burton and to the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Here comes Mark Martin. Last time he had lost, he was about 3.4. This time he's back to 3.2 seconds. So he's maintained and he's running as fast as the leaders.
In fact, he was the fastest car on the racetrack last lap, over 174.2 miles an hour, whereas up front it was Gordon and Burton running 173.4 and 6 respectively. So 113 laps now completed. We are closing in on the halfway mark at California Speedway. As Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Jeremy Mayfield, and Tony Stewart are the top 5. Back with more of our live coverage in just a moment. Stay with us here on ABC. Welcome back to California Speedway. Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern on ABC Sports. The PGA Tour heads south for the Compact Classic of New Orleans. Coverage continuing Sunday, May 9th at 3 o'clock Eastern. They're going for a purse of $2.6 million next Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern here on ABC. We're riding along with Ted Musgrave, who is currently 2 laps down in the 38th position. Tony Stewart is just ahead.
Tony Stewart is running in 5th spot in the Home Depot Pontiac.
Somewhat uncharacteristic race for Dale Jarrett. Normally we see him running up at least in the top 10, and he's currently in 13th position, about 30 seconds behind the leaders.
While the Dallenbach is watching DJ, Dale Jarrett goes through the corner, drifts up high. He's about 27, 28 seconds behind the leader. Leader right now being Jeff Burton in the Exide Batteries Ford. Sterling Marlin, the 40 car, going a lap down. The Coors Light car, that's 20th place. So right now, only 19 cars on the lead lap.
Burton and Gordon continuing to run up front. The next car that would go a lap down would be the 33, which is showing some different colors this week from Ken Schrader, who was on the pole at Talladega. He's back in the 19th spot and is just ahead of Jeff Burton. Now on board with Sterling Marlin as he sees second place Jeff Gordon up ahead.
And Sterling Marlin will watch the leaders of the race. He understands they're faster, so he'll try to follow the line, watch their line through the turns, and see if his car is going to go the same spot. Obviously, it isn't. They go on the bottom of the racetrack. Sterling drives his up to the top. Well, there's a lot of guys running on the top of the racetrack today, aren't they?
Boy, they sure are. We're only 4 laps from the halfway mark, but more importantly, we are nearing a pit window. And of course, races are often won and lost in the pit area, and we want to make sure we're here for those pit stops. So we're going to take another quick break and be back for those pit stops. The California 500, presented by Napa. We have just reached the halfway point. Lap 126 now completed. Jeff Burton picks up the money. Here is Dale Jarrett making a pit stop. We go to Bill Weber.
Well, why do they run happy hour at NASCAR Winston Cup races? So you can make your car better. After happy hour, Dale Jarrett told us on Saturday afternoon his car was loose. Well, that's been the problem since the green flag fell here this afternoon. He had tumbled all the way back to 13th or 14th. So crew chief Todd Barrett says they're going to try and tighten him up. They're going to make a chassis adjustment. It's a track bar adjustment. And they're going to make an air pressure adjustment on the track. Jeff Gordon going for the lead. Jeff Burton is expected to be next momentarily. Now the 88 has his 4 tires, his fuel, and he's hoping a race car that will be a little tighter on the track.
Rick Mast coming in just ahead of Dale Jarrett. The Ricky Rudd car is in. John?
It's a 4-tire change for Ricky Rudd. Also, they're making a chassis adjustment in the right rear, round down. Fuel going in, getting the lug nuts tightened on the left side. He is down and away, but Rudd, and almost a close call there. Byron Presley coming into his pits, but Ricky was aware of that, slowed down instead of gunning it, so there was no contact on pit road.
Ernie Irvan was in 12th position. He relinquishes that position to bring his M&M's car in for a pit stop.
Left side's going up. Gas going in. NASCAR official Jim Balls goes around, sees all the lug nuts are tight, and he's having to push Ernie Irvan. I guess he has run out of fuel and the car will not start. He's down to the very end of his tires. Or did it? Yes, there he goes. Man, that was close.
Gets the Pontiac going. Here is second place Jeff Burton now in. Bill Weber, he's headed toward you.
And it's a long crawl down here to his pit stall. Mayfield also on pit road. They've told Burton it's a clear path to his pits. His car continues to get a little bit tighter as the race goes along. They will take 2 rounds of wedge out. They will clean the grill and the windshield. Mayfield slides by on the right-hand side. They will make a chassis adjustment on the 12 car as well. There's the chassis adjustment on the 99, just completed. Left side tires about to go on. Meanwhile, they whip around to the left side on the 12. A pit stall in front of him. Good stop for Burton. Again, he's on his way. Mayfield still sits on pit road. The fuel's in, waiting on the lugs on the left rear. Took a little extra time to change. You're frustrated, but Jeremy Mayfield charges on.
16.4 second pit stop for Burton. A good job by the Excite group.
Wow, here comes John Andretti, STP Pontiac's there. Bill Weber.
It has been a good season for John Andretti, a win earlier this year at Martinsville. He's having a good run here today. He's already got right side tires. They'll come around and put on left side tires on the STP Pontiac. They toss the fuel can away, wait for them to top off the fuel. Having a little trouble, looks like on the left rear tire. Taking a little long to jack down Andretti out.
And Jerry Punch, the leader of the race, Jeff Gordon, is coming down.
Scheduled pit stop for Jeff Gordon, 4,200 RPMs in second gear. He brings the car in. He just said, Ray, no changes. The car is very good. Ray said, no problem, guys. 4 tires, 2 cans of fuel, no adjustment. They clean the windshield. Now come to the left side of the car. And they have caution on the racetrack. The car number 10 of Ricky Rudd has come into contact with the wall. Gordon in the pits, but caution now being waved to the field.
Ricky Rudd has crashed the 10 car. He is slowly coming down pit road, but there is a caution.
I'm guessing that Jeff Gordon will be a lap down to Mark Martin. No, here comes Martin right now. Maybe not. Maybe Jeff will just barely get in lap. As a matter of fact, Schrader and a bunch of cars raced Martin back to the line. Never seen Martin. All these guys trying to race him, and Jeff Gordon, I think, saved being lapped by just a few seconds.
The pace car will pick up the leader of the race, and it does. Mark Martin down to John Kernan again.
Ricky Rudd had made a pit stop, but he radioed in after hitting the wall and said the motor blew and dumped oil all over the place. So Ricky is now on pit road. You can see the damage on the right front of that car. His crew out pushing the car. They'll push it behind the wall into the garage area.
And the 36 car is also showing some damage. That's Ernie Irvan as he comes down. He was just in for a pit stop and now takes the M&M's Pontiac behind the wall. See if we can find out what happened here to Rudd after the engine blew on that car. Here it comes.
There we see Rudd going in the corner, and there's where he smacks the wall. And look at the oil as it dumps on the exhaust, catching on fire briefly. But the oil stops coming out, and the fire does go away as Rudd takes his car towards pit road. And it's obvious there's oil on the racetrack, and I would guess that's what happened to Ernie Irvan as he came along with the M&M's car, hit the oil going in turn 3, and he slid up into the wall.
Going into this race, Ricky, Jeff Gordon, and Terry Labonte had completed 100% of the laps here in the first 2 races. Rudd will ruin that record here this afternoon. Now, Mark Martin and Kenny Schrader both on pit road. Remember, several cars have already pitted. Mark Martin took over the lead and now comes down for his pit stop on lap 133.
Right now, his teammate, the 99 car, Jeff Burton, has been so strong all day. He is a lap down. And Bill Weber?
Well, they celebrated in the 6th pit when the caution came out. Mark Martin was going to pit that time by, but stayed out. Obviously, they're disappointed for their teammate, but they came here to win, and they took a giant step when that caution came out. It's 4 tires, a chassis adjustment for Mark Martin. He's away to Jerry Punch.
Just a tick of air pressure change for Mike Skinner, the 4th place car. The car just a bit loose. He has come down pit road. 4 tires. The 18 is out. The 25 is out. Here goes the 5 car of Terry Labonte back down pit road. Routine pit stops, minor adjustments, air pressure only for Mike Skinner.
There goes Tony Stewart out of the pits. Terry Labonte Wally Dallenbach and Jeffrey Bodine. Everybody completing their pit stop under caution here at California Speedway due to a crash up in turn number 4 involving Ricky Rudd. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. This is California Speedway near Fontana. This is the California 500 presented by Napa, the 10th race of the 1999 NASCAR Winston Cup season. The overhead shots courtesy of the Pennzoil Copter Cam. This used to be a steel mill and has been converted into this beautiful, magnificent palace of speed. Well, Jeff Gordon is on the lead lap. His pit stop was enough to get him out ahead of the pace car. But the 99 car of Jeff Burton, we understand, is going to be a lap down.
Well,
at the tail end of the lead lap.
Right. He's on the tail end of the lead lap. Right now he's in 9th spot. He's in front of the leader, Jeff Gordon. If he can stay there, another caution flag comes out, then you'll be able to come around and be on Jeff Gordon's back bumper on the lead lap. We'll see the 88 car right in front of him, another car that's on the tail end of the lead lap.
And so is the 12 car of Mayfield and the 22 of Ward Burton. So we'll certainly be entertained by that when the green flag drops again, seeing if those guys can indeed stay up ahead of the leader and technically stay on the lead lap. So Jeff Gordon is the leader of the race. Well, it's less than a month, ladies and gentlemen, until the greatest spectacle in racing will run once again. That, of course, on May 30th, the Indianapolis 500, and it'll be live here on ABC.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
It's the most suspenseful moment in all of sports. The start of the Indianapolis 500. 33 cars taking the green flag in front of nearly 500,000 people. The Indy 500 is the supreme test for a race car driver because his results at Indianapolis will define his legacy as a racer.
Every driver, especially every American driver, grows up with this thought of the Indianapolis 500 being the place that you have to be able to dominate one Sunday in your lifetime if you can, if you want to be the best in open wheel racing.
Last year at Indianapolis, it was Eddie Cheever who was the best in open wheel racing.
Hand up, saluting the crowd. Eddie Cheever has won the 82nd running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
And then victory lane at Indianapolis.
It's all very confusing. You get out of this race car and you've been driving as hard as you can for 3.5 hours. You've been dodging bullets. Cars have been crashing around you. You've missed a few accidents. So you're on such an adrenaline high that you realize what you're doing and you're fighting for that position and you realize you've won, but it's all very anticlimactic when it's finished. So you jump out of the car and they're sticking a microphone in your face and a bottle of milk and you're expected to say something very intelligent to 400,000 people, which is very difficult to do when you're still in the racing driver's mode.
When you started your driving career, what did Indy mean to you?
My father told me, I was raised in Italy, and my father told me that if you're going to win one race in your life, win the Indy 500. This one's for my dad.
Emotions have always run strong in victory lane because the accomplishment of winning this race is so tremendous. It means a racer has driven his car faster than anyone else and has avoided the perils that lurk at every turn. He has become part of the history of an event that began in the year 1911. The Memorial Day tradition continues on Sunday, May the 30th. It's the Indianapolis 500. And for 2 weeks before the race, ABC, ESPN, and ESPN2 will be the place to be for coverage of practice and the qualifying leading up to the greatest spectacle in racing. Okay, we're about to go back to racing here at California. The pace car dives toward pit road. The crowd is on its feet. And on lap number 138, the race resumes. And again, Jeff Burton is at the front of the field, but he is not the leader. He, Jeremy Mayfield, Ward Burton, and Dale Jarrett are at the tail end of the lead lap. Jeff Gordon is the leader of the race. Jerry Punch is with Ricky Rudd, who caused the most recent crash.
Ricky, contact with the wall. What happened out there?
Well, Jerry, something went wrong in the motor or something exploded at the bottom end, and I think it broke a connecting rod or something came out. Went through the oil pan, and all the water and oil hit the racetrack and it spun out on oil. And thought maybe I had it gathered up for a minute, but didn't do too well with it. Hit the fence pretty hard and knocked the brake calipers off. I had no brakes, so I'm glad I got in that soft mud. It stopped the momentum of the car.
Any warning at all?
No, not really. Just by that time I got out accelerator, the motor just vibrated real hard and everything came out the bottom.
Tough break for the Tide ride. Ricky Rudd out for the day.
We see that Mark Martin is taking the lead. Bobby Labonte's going in the second spot. And look at this group behind them. And Jeff Gordon was right in the middle of that just a little bit ago. Here goes for the lead. Bobby Labonte takes over the top spot.
Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin, and Jeff Gordon all right there running first, second, and third. Bill has more on Mark Martin.
Well, at the end of that long green flag run, Mark Martin's car was getting better and better, and that's because it was getting tighter and tighter. So on this most recent pit stop, they opted to tighten him up with a round of wedge. They think his car will be as good at the beginning of the run now as it was at the end of the run. As for Rusty Wallace, the frustration continues on that last pit stop. 2 rounds of wedge out. They raised the track bar a 1/4 of an inch and made an air pressure adjustment. They continue to battle to try and find the right setup here at California.
And the 42 of Joe Nemechek is in the wall. We understand he was also involved somewhat in that crash that was a result of Ricky Rudd's engine problem.
We see the right rear tire. We saw it, the tread flapping on that car. And the caution flag is out because there has to be debris on the racetrack. And look at all those guys getting a lap back, Bob.
Yep, that is going to change the complexion of this race once again and allow those 4 cars to go around the racetrack and once again be in contention. Talking about Jeff Gordon, Jeremy Mayfield, Ward Burton, and Dale Jarrett. All of those guys will be able to go around the entire racetrack and battle once again up front.
There we see the guy you're talking about, Jeff Burton, Jeremy. All these guys, they said, wow, thank you. Well, no, they're not saying thank you to Joe Nemechek because that happens to them quite often. But they are really happy because of this caution flag. So they now can get back in the lead lap and contend for the victory.
Joe Nemechek has made pit road, John Kernan.
Joe Nemechek radioed in and told his crew apparently the right front tire just went completely down. He went right into the wall. The car is damaged severely. Just is going to take it behind the wall. They asked him if he was okay. Joe said, yeah, I'm okay, but I hit so hard it actually bent the seat.
Wow. Well, no team wants to see a caution because of an accident, but boy, in this situation, when Joe Nemechek did hit the wall and the caution came out, there was jubilation in the Dale Jarrett pit.
Because they realize now they have a chance, still have a chance to win this race. A lap down, your chance of victory is gone.
12 cars now are on the lead lap as we approach the 142nd lap completed. And Dale Jarrett is coming in. 55-mile-an-hour speed limit down pit road as Jarrett comes in. Bill Weber.
Well, a huge cheer from Dale Jarrett's pit rather when that caution came out and he got back on the lead lap and then he just missed his pit, so he just sailed by his pit. He was going to stop that time. I wonder if pit road maybe wasn't open yet.
I think pit road wasn't open yet, Bill, is why he didn't stop. I think that's the case because the leaders when they come by this time, the pit road will be open. Then he can make his pit stop. So if he had stopped and made that penalty, then he would have been penalized by NASCAR. There we see the flagman. The green flag is out. Pit road is now open. It wasn't the last time by.
That is right. Confirmation that it was not open, but it is now. And that results in Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, and others coming down for a stop.
But Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin stay on the racetrack. Not content with giving away track position.
Wally Dallenbach, Steve Park also in, Bill Weber.
Pit road is a busy place right now. Bobby Labonte into his stall, getting fuel. Right side tires going on. Behind him, his teammate Tony Stewart is getting fuel only. Wally Dallenbach is away. They're coming around to the left side on the 18 to put on those tires. Stewart is away. The 25 is away. Jeff Burton is also on pit road along with Jeremy Mayfield. Here comes Dale Jarrett. The reason he came down pit road when it was closed is because his crew chief, Todd Parrott, was talking to him, and his spotter could not relay the information that road was closed. They talked about doing fuel only, but Jarrett said, if I'm going to be in the back of the pack in this race, I want sticker tires if we're going to get back to the front. Dale won the argument. He's got his fuel. He's got 4 tires. He's on his way. Burton beat him out. The Jerry Punch.
Back in the garage area, Joe Nemechek has climbed out of the remains of his Bell South Chevrolet. Joe, this incident really started with the 10 car blowing an engine.
That it did. It's just so hard. You know, the whole Bell South team has just been having a hard time, and we had a decent run going today. And when they had the caution, we were coming back around, and all of a sudden I hit a spot of oil where he blew up, and my car just shot all the way to the wall and hit the front and the back. We come in, fixed it. Put a set of tires on, and on that restart, I hopped to the outside, and right before I got into one, it shook real bad, and all of a sudden the back end come out, and I think I must have run over something out there and cut a tire down and hit pretty hard.
We saw you hit hard enough inside a moment ago to bend the seat. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm okay. My rib's a little sore, but it hit hard. Hello.
All right, Joe Nemechek able to smile, but a hard lick for the car 42.
I tell you what, the fact that Jeff Gordon and some cars did not pit tells me they can't make it from here the rest of the way on one stop. All these cars that did stop evidently are thinking about going the rest of the way on one more pit stop. And Jeff Gordon isn't stopping because right now he's not within his window.
And the penalty assessed to Dale Jarrett coming in while the pits were closed to the end of the longest line. That's the situation. We remain under caution here at California Speedway. 143 laps completed, and Jeff Gordon is the leader of the race. A lot more racing to come, but right now let's send you to our Wide World of Sports studio in New York and your host, Robin Roberts. Back at California Speedway in Fontana, you're watching live coverage here on ABC of the California 500 presented by Napa. 144 of 250 laps completed. Jeff Gordon is currently the leader of the race. We have talked about how important fuel mileage is at this track and others on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. And you'll recall 2 years ago in the inaugural event here at California Speedway, it was Mark Martin who had a bad calculation regarding fuel, had to come in for a quick splash and go. That resulted in Jeff Gordon driving to victory and Mark Martin finishing 10th in that race back in 1997. So is Gordon on his way to a repeat victory here this afternoon? Jerry?
Well, Bob, the reason Jeff Gordon couldn't come in, Benny nailed it on the head. They were not within their window. Gordon asked Ray Evernham, why is everybody else pitting and I'm not? He said, little partner, we're not in our window for fuel. We have to go to lap 145, which will mean the green coming out this time, to be in their window. They can run 52 to 53 laps only on fuel, and it would have been very, very close. He just told Jeff we'll make 2 more stops, but there's 100 laps to go, and anything can happen. Let's go to John.
Jeff Gordon's teammate Wally Dallenbach was on pit road. They topped it off with fuel, didn't make a tire change. All they need is one more stop because they have no problem going 54 laps to Bill Weber.
Well, Dale Jarrett, very calm but very frustrated in his race car. NASCAR has put him at the end of the longest line for coming down pit road before it was open. Jarrett wants to know what the penalty's for since he just drove down pit road and nothing happened, no pit stop. But they said into the longest line, green about to come out.
Wow.
That longest line is to the inside lap cars because there are only 12 on the outside line, those that are on the lead lap. Green flag waves back the competition. Jeff Gordon leading, Mark Martin second.
Terry Labonte is in third spot, Mike Skinner fourth, and Tony Stewart is fifth. Better see Kenny Irwin, the Texaco car on the inside, a lap down as back in the back, Ward Burton dives to the inside, making it 3-4 wide down the back.
Big group of cars down the backstretch on board with Mark Martin, looking back to Terry Labonte on the left and Kenny Irwin on the right. Irwin is a lap down in 13th position. And here comes Tony Stewart to the inside of Kenny. Hardee's field summary showing you the manufacturer's points battle. Ford with just a slim 3-point lead. And here is Tony Stewart now.
And Rusty Wallace is a lap down. He's in 14th spot, 1 lap down. Tony Stewart, meanwhile, is in 4th position on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace, a lot of these cars made pit stops, and just a few laps later, the caution flag came out.
31 is Mike Skinner, as he is also on the lead lap, right behind Tony Stewart, running in the 5th position. And Jarrett, because of the fact that he had to start at the end of the longest line, has a lot of traffic to move through. Oh, we got a problem up in the 2nd corner. Everybody's saving it, but somebody is way up high on the racetrack. It's Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart, I would guess, got down in the corner, and look at all these.
Got a little room now. Come on.
All these cars going by, so Tony now has to try to work his way back to the front.
Take a breath now.
Take a think now. So put him back in the 11th position now.
Running 4th, lost 7 spots. But it's not only the 7 spots that he lost, it's all those lap cars that are now between him and the 3rd place car he was racing with.
But the good news is he saved it, did not crash, and so the car is okay. We presume.
There's Jerry Nadeau that he's going by on the outside. A new paint job this week for Nadeau.
He's 20th, a lap down. John Andretti goes to the inside of Ken Schrader. There's Jarrett. From Rusty Wallace's onboard camera, we'll get an indication of what happened to Tony Stewart. He's off to the right.
Wow. Down on the inside, when you're going alongside a car going in the corner, you don't have that wall of air to lean against that you normally have. Rusty Wallace was blocking that wall of air, and Tony goes down the corner. This time, without that air to lean against, he lost the back end, almost spun.
Trying to pick up a spot here on board the Jeremy Mayfield, and Tony trying to pass Jeremy for the 10th position, trying to work his way back into the top 10. 100 laps to go, 150 complete. Up front, it is Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin now, with 3rd place Terry Labonte about a second behind.
It looks like that one round of wedge they put in Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford has really let him run faster than before as he tries to take the lead off turn 4, right alongside Jeff Gordon.
Valvoline raising money for the big brothers and big sisters of America, and every lap that Mark Martin leads, some more money. Every race he wins, every pole he wins means money for big brothers and big sisters of America. And right now, Mark Martin has led 5 laps in the California 500. Gordon is 2nd, followed by the Labonte brothers, and Mike Skinner is running in 5th. Back at California, where the caution flag has come out. It was created by Dale Jarrett, who had a tire go down, a left rear it appeared, and the caution did come out because there was some debris on the backstretch. He did, however, stay in the lead lap.
This is Dale Jarrett going down in turn 1. We see him there on the outside. Tony Stewart right behind him, and all of a sudden he feels that left rear go. Does a great job, goes up right to the outside retaining wall, does not hit the wall, keeps the car under control. Then, as he's coming down the backstretch to go to the pit area to get the tire changed, watches the cap comes off the tire. The tread just leaves the tire. That's the debris that caused the caution flag. Now, Dale Jarrett doesn't realize that. He's going to come in the pit road. But now the crew yells to him, the caution flag is out. Caution flag is out. So he makes that left-hand turn. Oops, back to the right, continues on, and so far has remained in the lead lap.
That has kept him on the lead lap in 12th position. Smart move by Jarrett. Tough break for him, but a smart move to stay out on the racetrack and stay in the lead lap, because now he's going to be able to come in and get the tire changed. Well, here they come once again for another round of pit stops. We're on lap 156. Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, and the others come down.
At least now, Bob, this race will not be decided by fuel, because all the rest of these cars will be able to run and the rest of the race with one more stop. Jerry Punch?
Jeff Gordon, Terry Labonte, and a host of others come down pit road. Now, Gordon and everyone from here should be able to make it on one more pit stop. Triple pit stop, 6, 24, and 5, Ford, then 2 Chevrolets. Fuel to the right side tires for Terry Labonte, but Gordon will take 4 tires. They've already put the right side rubber on, now going to the left side. Martin, 4 tires. He is down, Gordon is down. They head back to turn 1 at 55 miles per hour.
8.3-second pit stop for Labonte, just getting 2 tires, but Gordon and Martin took 4. Down to Bill Weber.
Dale Jarrett is on pit road when they were going to come down because he had a left rear going down. They were only going to change lefts. The caution saved him, as you mentioned. They'll have to lift the car to slide the jack underneath. Then they come around the left side. They'll change the left side tires. So Jarrett will have 4 tires and fuel. And I'll tell you what, another deep breath. Now, Brad Parrott needs a tool because the sheet metal has apparently been knocked in by that tire going down. So they're going to try and get either a hammer or some tape to make some repairs underneath the car, and this will take them a little longer, but they're under caution. Remember, all this would have had to happen under green if the caution hadn't come out. They continue to work in the left rear wheel well on the 88 car. Now he needs a drill, so this could take a little while. They're watching the pace car. The caution car is in turn 3. Todd Parrott has told him to put the wheel on there. Now the caution car heading for turn 4. Jarrett will make a lap, and I'll bet he'll be back. We'll check on the damage.
Down to John Kernan.
Wally Dallenbach was in, 4 tire change, no chassis adjustment, but they did try to loosen the car up with an air pressure adjustment on the right rear tire. He was going to try and make it anyway on one more stop, but all this did was just put everybody on even playing field. Wally still needs one more stop.
Now those cars not on the lead lap are coming in. Down to Jerry Punch.
A moment ago when Terry Labonte, Gordon, and everyone came in, we were looking at Jeff Gordon's 4 tire change, turned around and saw Terry Labonte leaving in like 7.5 seconds. Thought he maybe had changed right side tires, but no tire change whatsoever on the 5 car for Terry Labonte. Fuel only. Andy Gray said we're going to roll the dice. We got one more stop, and Terry thinks the car is good. No tires.
All right, we'll see how that works out as the race concludes. There is Terry Labonte, who finished in the 39th position here, or rather the 3rd position here at California last year, and a 2nd place finish in the inaugural race. Jarrett back in. Bill.
And they're bringing it back in because the crush panel behind the wheel well has been knocked out of place, and that's what they're going to try and get back into place. They'll have to slide the jack under there. They've got a drill. They've got a couple of saws out here. They've got some tape and some bungee cords. They're going to get underneath there and try and get that back into position. NASCAR official watches them. Brad Parrott dives underneath. He's got plenty of help under there. They're going to yank the wheel off, so we'll have a little more working area under there. This is a very difficult time for these guys. Every time they get a good break, a bad one seems to follow it up. They use the drill to try and relocate and hold the crush panel into place. One to go this time by. They're going to have to put the wheel on and then come back around again if that's possible. They had some big tape band-aids here that they could put into place, but they're not going to use those. Now a lug nut has come off, so they have to hand thread the lug nuts. And Jarrett heads back out.
Another long pit stop for the 44 car of Kyle Petty.
This is Ricky Thomas, the front tire changer. Goes around, takes off the 5 lug nuts. Abbott Lloyd throws the tire on the hub. Ricky tightens it back up. Now around the left side. Same situation. Oh, what happened? The jack fell. The jack fell all of a sudden. So they take him off. Now they got to put it back on. Okay, he gets up. Ricky gets up and goes back across the wall. Wait a minute. What's going on here? They're putting more tape on the grill. More tape, trying to loosen the crop even more and make it run a little bit faster down the straightaway.
That's relegated Kyle all the way back to a 33rd position. He's now 2 laps down. Really putting a lot lot of tape on that car to loosen it up a little bit. And finally, Kyle out of the pit area.
We saw the Winston Cup officials when they were watching Dale Jarrett's crew working on this car, giving the signal to the crews, 1 lap to go till the green flag. So this time by the green flag away, we see Dale Earnhardt on the inside of Terry Labonte, that Goodwrench Chevrolet, trying to get back in front. Hope the caution flag comes out, get a lap back.
Once again, Dale Jarrett is at the back of the cars on the lead lap. He's in 12th position. A bit of a tough weekend for the Jarrett family. Dale's son, Jason, was involved in a crash in the Busch race yesterday, was taken to Loma Linda Medical Center, but was released, as was Phil Parsons, who was also sent to the hospital after a crash in the Busch race. Green waves, we're back to competition.
Terry Labonte trying to keep Dale Earnhardt a lap down. Here comes Earnhardt back on the inside.
And Earnhardt, who's back in 13th, a lap down. Is he going to get back on the lead lap?
Here's a battle for the lead as Jeremy Mayfield tries to get that horse. He's whipping that horse now, Bob.
In celebration of the 125th running of the Kentucky Derby, his car is painted in Derby colors, and he's got the whip out as he takes the lead.
And Ward Burton going for the second spot.
Down to Bill Weber.
Well, Todd Parrott is the crew chief for Dale Jarrett, watching as the cars charge down the front stretch, and the spotter helping Dale try and find his way back to the front of the field. Long time on pit road. What was it, Todd?
The left rear crush panel got knocked loose when the tire blew out, so got that all patched up, and it's been a long day, but at least we didn't lose a lap a while ago. That was important. Now we just try to get our way back to the front.
Where's that panel now?
Oh, it's fine. A little rough, but it's okay.
Okay, they really worked hard to get it back in place, and when they left, they were confident that it was in place. And now DJ Mayfield almost in the wall.
He saved it, but he's losing positions, and just as he gets the lead, he relinquishes it.
Man, oh man, as he came off turn 4, the back end flew out, and Jeremy almost bought some concrete.
That turns the lead over to Ward Burton. Ward Burton now the leader.
And Jeremy Mayfield sees the 99 car of Jeff Burton right behind him. Jeff has proven to be one of the fastest cars all race long.
Dale Earnhardt is back on the lead lap. He's ahead of Ward Burton. Let's see what happened to Mayfield coming off 4. Oh, they're back in way around on the car.
Twice it was way around. 3 times it's way around. Oh, 4 times.
Nice save by Jeremy. It cost him track position, but he's still in contention.
Now Jeremy Mayfield goes by Dale Earnhardt. That's a replay. I'm sorry. Man. I thought to myself, how did he catch Earnhardt so fast? Guys, the truck tricked me, Bob.
There is Burton. He now has about a half-second lead on Terry Labonte, who is under pressure from Jeff Gordon. Here comes Gordon to the inside of Terry Labonte. The battle for second off of 4. The 2 car of Rusty Wallace is not on the lead lap. He's a lap down in 14th. The battle for third is between the 5 of Terry Labonte and the 6 of Mark Martin. And Martin is going to take the spot, and Terry falls back to 4th.
And Bobby Labonte moves down to the inside, trying to get some drafting help from those other cars to pass his brother.
So Terry Labonte dropping back again. He took no tires in that most recent round of pit stops, and that may be costing him. Here comes Mike Skinner to the inside of Terry. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt just fighting to stay on that lead lap. But now he has pressure from Jeff Gordon, who is about to take the lead for Ward Burton, or is trying to at the line. Jeff Gordon with about a half a car length advantage.
See Earnhardt swing out wide to get his angle right for turns 1 and 2. That's one thing Jeff Gordon couldn't do that time. Could not get quite wide enough to go in entry turn 1 to make a good corner, so Ward Burton pulls alongside of him.
Burton battling alongside Jeff Gordon for the lead. Ward is putting up a tenacious fight here in this afternoon's race. Finished 32nd in last year's race here and 28th in the run, but he's having a very good race here this afternoon. So far, Jeff Gordon has led 5 laps, and Ward Burton has led 8. And now they're 3 wide as Rusty Wallace gets back on the lead lap. So both Wallace and Earnhardt now back on the lead lap.
And Ward Burton, I just know that scared him to death when Rusty Wallace drove on the outside. He had no idea Rusty Wallace was on the racetrack, and he went by him on the outside. Now here Jeff Gordon trying to get by Rusty on the inside.
Trying to once again put him a lap down to the field. Gordon inside of Rusty.
Meanwhile, Earnhardt is loving this as Ward Burton pulls down. Trying to get some drafting help with Jeff Gordon. And once again, see these cars need to swing up. See how Rusty swings up to get his angle right in the corner? Well, Jeff doesn't know when to do that, so he can't get that angle right. And Rusty, you can see how he beats him through that corner. You've got to make these corners really wide here at the California Speedway. If you drive the car straight into the corners, they just never turn. They want to slide across the racetrack.
Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Ward Burton, Mark Martin, and Mike Skinner are the top 5 with 166 laps completed at California. Back with our live coverage of the California 500 presented by Napa. Jeff Gordon is the leader of the race, and now both Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt are once again a lap down. Second place belongs to Bobby Labonte, with whom we ride. ABC's coverage of the CART FedEx Championship Series continues with the 5th race of the season, Sunday, May 16th at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. It's the Rio 200. The defending champion of the event is Greg Moore. Join us Sunday, May 16th at 4 Eastern for Champ Racing.
This is Bobby Labonte, the Circuit City onboard camera, currently in 2nd spot. Right behind the Rusty Wallace car, Jeff Gordon. And Rusty is currently in 13th position, 1 lap down.
Mark Martin, the port car there to the left of your screen. Ward Burton running 4th, and Jeff Burton, who at one time was a lap down, is back up to 5th. Here's a Hardee's field summary showing you the points, and again, the top 5 are the same as they were coming into this event. In the second 5, look at how they've changed. Tony Stewart up 1, Labonte up 1, Wallace down 2, and Skinner also up 1.
Now right behind Bobby Labonte is Mark Martin. Had an awfully fast race car here all afternoon.
7 top 10 finishes in 1999. En route to another one here this afternoon. In fact, battling for the 2nd spot now with Labonte going to the inside down the backstretch, taking the spot. So move Mark up to 2nd now behind Gordon. And Labonte got those left side tires down the right line there.
Bobby Labonte has been running that high groove all day long through these corners. There we see the 99 car. Jeff Burton's been able to get by his brother, move into the 4th spot.
Five in the 88 do battle for the 10th position. Terry Labonte and Dale Jarrett.
And on that last pit stop, Terry Labonte, that Kellogg's car stopped. Fuel only, did not change tires, and it looks like that's really hurting right now, Bob.
Yeah, he's almost the last car on the lead lap. The 60 car of Jeffrey Bodine is in that position in 12th. But Labonte has dropped all the way back to 11th.
Ever see Jeremy Mayfield going by the Mike Skinner automobile? Moves him into 7th spot.
There is Jeffrey Bodine, who's having a good run in the Power Team car owned by Joe Bessie. In the 12th position, the last car on the lead lap, about 9 3/4 seconds behind Jeff Gordon. There is Jeff, and the separation between him and 2nd place Mark Martin, with Rusty Wallace running in between them. So the California 500 continuing here at Fontana, California. ESPN and ABC continuing their coverage of NASCAR. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Last year in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, we saw Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon battle for the championship, and they could well again do it in 1999. But right now it is a battle between these two guys on the racetrack here at California Speedway, as Jeff Gordon has the lead and second position belongs to Mark Martin. There's Jeff with about a 1 3/4 second advantage now on Martin.
And the last time by, he was a half-mile per hour faster than Mark Martin. We see these shots from the Pennzoil copter cam.
And there's the interval.
Now this is the point, though, that Mark Martin is supposed to start getting better. Remember, on these long runs, that last half of the run, he's supposed to be better than Jeff Gordon. Let's see if he can close in. That time he lost a 1/4 of a second to Jeff Gordon. He's now exactly 2 seconds behind as Bobby Labonte goes by Rusty Wallace. Bobby Labonte is a third-place car.
The fastest lap that time around was turned by the 4th-place car of Jeff Burton, just a little bit faster than Jeff Gordon. And the 31 car is all the way back to 11th position. Jerry, what's going on with Mike Skinner?
Bob, he has lost 7 spots since the restart. The car just has a severe push in the middle of the corner. He turns the steering wheel, turns it again, and turns it again, and the car goes up across the racetrack and will not turn. He's giving up the inside. The spoiler says, protect the inside as I can. The car just simply won't turn, and he's going backwards. Let's go to John.
Jeffrey Bodine, running back near the end of the cars on the lead lap, has developed a severe vibration with his tires. What they're saying is the last set of tires they had also showed some vibration. They don't know if it's something in the chassis, something wrong with the car. But right now, Bodine's just trying to ride it out so he can get to around lap 195 to 200 so he can make his final pit stop. But right now, some vibration, and Robert Presley is off the pace.
Going very slowly down the backstretch in the 77 Jasper Engines Ford. Robert Presley was several laps down, actually just 1 lap down in the 19th position, but now drops down to the apron of the racetrack.
Don't know, we can't see any smoke out of the car. The left rear tire appeared to be up.
And no caution yet, as it appears as if Robert Presley has enough momentum. He's going to make it to pit road. Indeed, he does, and so there will be no caution. Let's take a look at the Bud race recap here with Jeff Gordon leading 85 laps so far. We've had 26 lead changes, a very competitive race, 5 caution periods, 23 laps, and the average is below the record of 155.0 set by Jeff Gordon in the inaugural running. Here are the drivers who have gotten 5 bonus points for leading a lap. You see Jeff at the top of the list of those leading the most. And here are some more drivers who have been up front at one time, whether it be under green or caution. And also Dale Jarrett and Jeffrey Bodine have gotten credit for leading a lap. We have 1 car off the track. They're continuing to work on the Joe Nemechek car. 3 are out of the race officially. Johnny Benson from an early crash, Derek Cope, and also Ricky Rudd from a crash. And John Kernan, can we add another to that list?
Robert Presley is pulled into the garage area. They told him to just bring the car directly to the transporter. They're going to load it up. Apparently an engine problem for Robert Presley, but he is done for the day.
Robert Presley will join the list of those out of competition. Still got about 65 laps to go.
Gotta have another pit stop. Interesting to see what these guys are going to do on these pit stops. We've seen that no tires on Terry Labonte's car didn't seem to work too well earlier in the race. Ward Burton changed 2 tires, and I would say it would probably not, it didn't hurt the car that badly. So what's Jeff Gordon, never have these guys got up their sleeves? Will it be fuel, 4 tires, or maybe gas only, right side tires?
There is Jeff Burton, who is in 4th position, about 4 seconds behind the leader, coming back from a lap down. Here's There's Bobby Labonte's view as he looks back on Jeff Burton.
Last time by, Bobby Labonte was faster than Jeff Burton. Did we see Jeff Gordon go by?
Jeff Gordon, many people are saying, oh, because of his 3 DNFs that you see there on the right, he's out of contention for the championship. Actually, he is in some areas a little ahead of last year's pace. He has 2 wins, the same as last year, but those DNFs have really hurt him. He's still 5th in the points, exactly where he was at this time last year. Jerry?
Interesting conversation today between Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon. Jeff will say the car is perfect. Ray, the car is perfect. Ray will say, is it tight at all or is it loose? He said, no, it's perfect. Jeff comes down pit road. Ray loosens the car up a half a round. Next time he comes in, how's the car, Jeff? Oh, it's perfect. Ray loosens him up a half a round. Ray Evernham knows the looser the car, the faster the car. And unless the driver complains that the car is loose, he's loosening him up a half a round every stop. Goes loose and fast, and he's up front.
And that has been one of the secrets to this team's great success, the working relationship and knowing what the other is thinking between Jeff and Ray.
And Ray understanding he has these records. He understands at this racetrack, as the race progresses, these cars seem to have a tendency to want to push a little bit more as the race wears on. So he's just trying to take care of that before it happens.
The completion of lap number 189 here at California Speedway in Fontana. The California 500 by Napa being led by Jeff Gordon. Live Saturday on ABC Sports at 3:30 Eastern. Coverage of horse racing continues with the Pimlico Special presented by Visa. This is the 34th running of the race, and the purse is $500,000. The top 4-year-olds and older will be racing Saturday live at 3:30 Eastern Time here on ABC. There's the scoring tower at California Speedway in Fontana. A little bit of a shuffle, not up front, but some positions are being traded. Jeff Gordon continues to lead. Bobby Labonte is second, but the 99 of Jeff Burton has moved to third. Actually, Mark Martin just kind of moved aside and let Jeff go ahead of him.
Well, Jeff caught him on the racetrack, so Mark Martin said, that's my teammate. Why should I hold him up? So he moved over.
There's Wally Dallenbach, who's having a great race. He and Dale Jarrett running together. The 3-car, of course, is not on the lead lap in 15th position, but Wally Dallenbach is having a very, very good race. For a taste of the race, let's check out the telemetry from Jimmy Dean Sausage with Wally Dallenbach.
Down the front straightaway, these cars still around 198 miles per hour down in the corner. See 36% of the braking. Just got to trail brake that thing a little bit to try to help it turn as Dale Jarrett closes up right on the back bumper and dives to the inside.
And Mark Martin is off the pace. Martin dropping down to the apron of the racetrack.
Man.
He's coming in. We're looking for scrub marks on the side of the car. Don't see any, Bill.
And you won't, Bob. 3 words. It blew up. That's what Mark just told his crew as he headed for pit road. So they scramble here in the pits, but Jimmy Fennick comes down off the box. Very disappointing. Mark Martin to the garage, done for the day, will not successfully defend.
And there it is, BP.
Yes. Bill, it definitely blew up. We can see the smoke coming out the exhaust pipe. And Mark, in a hurry, shut it off and hit the brakes. Listen to it. He did not want to happen the same thing to happen to him that happened to Ricky Rudd. Rudd, unfortunately, blew his going into the corner, and the oil got under the tires. He hit the wall. Mark Martin shut it down on the straightaway before he could damage, before he get the tires in the oil and hit the wall.
Well, what's it feel like to be running in 3rd or 4th position, and all of a sudden there's smoke out the back, you hear a strange noise, and every instrument gauge goes to the far left.
Very, very disappointing. You know, and Mark Martin in NASCAR today, the show that preceded our show today on ESPN2, Bill Weber, they talked to Mark Martin. He put a little bit lower gear in his car to help him get up off the corners today, hoping that they would have some caution flags and that we see Jeffrey Bodine going by the Mike Skinner automobile. That's for the 10th position. But it looks like that. Oh, here comes Mike Skinner into the pits.
Skinner dropping down off the 14 degrees of banking and making a pit stop.
Mike Skinner is in his window. He can make it on one more stop. Jerry Punch?
Exactly right, Benny Parsons. He could actually go 54 laps. They were getting great fuel mileage, but the car was handling just terribly. They had a severe push. He was losing position, so now the window is open. He is on pit road for what should be his final scheduled stop. 4 tires. They'll make an adjustment with air pressure to try to loosen the car up, to free it up a little bit. Remember, the car would not turn to the corner. It is full of fuel. Left side tires are on, and Skinner is away.
Mike Skinner led NASCAR Winston Cup points for a while this year. Has had some tough luck in some races. As the last scheduled pit stop completed, because we've only got 51 more laps to go now. Here comes Jeff Gordon as the leader of the race. Now the interval between first and second is shrinking, although it's rather small. AutoZone on-track interval report showing that interval decreased by 0.6 of a second.
And
now,
you know,
a full second.
And Bobby Labonte is about 1/10 of a second faster each and every lap than Jeff Gordon. There comes Bobby Labonte at 1.5 seconds behind. Is not that much.
And the 5 car of Terry Labonte is on pit road, Jerry.
Remember last time Terry did not take any tires at all, just fuel. 3,800 RPMs. He brings the car to a halt right in the middle of his box. They will peel the tearaway windshield off. The glare becoming somewhat of a problem. Right side tires. They will make a 4-tire change. They've got to get it full of fuel, though. Still got 49 laps to go here at California Speedway. Left front lug nuts, left rear lug nuts. It's full of gas, and Labonte jumps back in the throttle, 17.6 seconds.
Terry finished 22nd in yesterday's Busch race that you saw on ABC. And right now is having a good day in his Winston Cup car. He works back up to speed as Jeff Gordon remains at speed. Now let's check a Jimmy Dean field summary and show you the points. Mark Martin has already lost 1 position and will probably lose more because he is out of the race. Several positions now changing in the top 10. Ward Burton moving up 2. Jeremy Mayfield is up 2 positions as he currently runs in 4th spot. It's back up to over 2 seconds now, the interval between Gordon and Bobby Labonte.
Evidently, Bobby Labonte ran across a slow car that he had to pass the last lap, and it cost him dearly. But that's the reason he's now 2 seconds behind, because the last lap he was a little bit faster than Jeff Gordon. Not much, but a couple of tenths of a mile per hour.
Let's watch his line here. You talked about how you've got to go high and sweep wide into the corner.
Got to get down, because right there is a critical point. You have to try to make that thing as round as possible as Rusty Wallace comes down to make his pit stop. If you try to drive it in too straight, the car just pushes too badly. Bill Weber.
Well, it's been a battle for Rusty Wallace all day. Now they're going to try and make it here, this hopefully being their final green flag stop. They go around to the right side and look at 4 fresh sticker tires and plenty of fuel to reach the finish. Rusty now just hoping to salvage as many points as he possibly can. And what's been a frustrating weekend here at California. Left side's going on. They tighten the lug nuts, and Rusty's away.
The 60 car of Jeffrey Bodine, who was another car on the lead lap, has just gone behind the wall. Jeffrey Bodine driving it straight back into the garage area. Meanwhile, the 22 car of Ward Burton hits pit road. He was in 7th position last lap, Doc.
Scheduled pit stop for Ward Burton, the same car that he had a great run at Las Vegas early in the year from 30 to finish 2nd. Tommy Baldwin and the Bill Davis crew will change tires, right side tires going in. They will put 4 tires on this car. No one going to gamble now in the final 50 laps on just 2 right side tires. Need fresh rubber all the way around. Got to get it full of fuel. The 4 car pulls in front. The 22 on pit road, but he's able to get out without any problems. Ward Burton down and away.
19-second pit stop for Ward Burton. And Dale Jarrett also heads toward his pit box. to Bill Weber.
Well, they continue to fight a handling problem on the 88 car, but what they're going to try and do now is put a pound of air pressure in the right front and take a round of wedge out so Jarrett has a better handling car. Just has not been able to find the handle. Fought a loose condition all day. Right side tires going on. Windshield clear. Gas going in. 43 slides by on the right-hand side. Now they'll put on the left side tires for Dale Jarrett. And he'll return to the race. Meanwhile, as Jarrett returns to the race, a long march down pit road for Jeremy Mayfield with 206 laps on the board here at the California 500. Mayfield now aims for his pit stall. At the other end of pit road, Jeff Burton now begins his march down pit road as the 12 crew goes to work. Jack goes under the right side. Right side tires going on. Again, these will be the last green flag pit stops we should see unless a team has trouble down the stretch here. Jack under the left side tires going on. Mayfield waits, they drop the jack, and he stalls the car. Now they're gonna have to push him to get him started. This will cost him a lot of time. Still pushing him down pit road. Frustration for Mayfield to Jerry.
Final scheduled stop for our leader, Jeff Gordon. 43 laps remain. They are still pushing the 12 car of Mayfield. He is underway. The 18 car has 4 tires. No changes for Gordon. Bobby Labonte gets left side tires on the Interstate Battery Pontiac. Final stop for the Joe Gibbs crew. Hustling to get the car out. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Wally Dallenbach and his crew chief Tony Furk contemplated the 2-tire change, but because Jeff Burton leaves the pits, the jack falls down before they get the left side tires on Wally's car. They made a chassis adjustment, 2 rounds of bite out of the left rear. Now they got to pull the fender out, tell Slater to pull the fender out, and Wally goes. But man, that cost them a lot of time, and it probably made some problems for aerodynamics. Tony Stewart coming down pit road, up to the booth.
Now a couple of drivers having problems on this round of pit stops. Jeremy Mayfield also with trouble. Let's see how it goes for Tony Stewart.
Brings the car to a stop. Jackman helps with the tire. They throw on that right side. Jackman's watching. Lug nuts are tight. Down goes the car. Around to the left side. Car goes up. Left sides are off. Almost gas is full. We see the catch can map. Signifies 17.6 seconds for Tony Stewart.
But did you notice the time for Jeff Gordon and the Rainbow Warriors? 15.9 seconds for 4 tires. Well, Jeff Gordon is the leader. Let's get an update from Bill Weber on pit road.
Well, first of all, let's focus on Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. They had talked about taking a round of wedge out, actually loosening him up about 20 laps ago, and as they got closer and closer to the pit stop, they decided not to do that. His car is handling very well, so he got 4 tires and fuel and went back out. Jeff Burton told his crew on lap 184 this car is just too loose, just too loose. Frank Stoddard said we'll put in a round of bite. Jeff said, I'm telling you, a round of bite is not enough. So what they did is they took a half pound of air out of the left side tires, put in 2 rounds of wedge. Burton's big problems, the middle of 1 and 2, and he needed help getting off of turn 4. We'll see how this all plays out.
Burton closing in on Bobby Labonte for the second position. Jeff Gordon with a 5-second lead.
That's right. If you go in the pits with a 2-second lead, he comes out with almost a 5-second lead.
And while pit stops were being made, Tony Stewart was given credit for leading 1 lap. We'll be right back. Back at the California 500 presented by Napa. That streak of oil was put down by the 23 car of Jimmy Spencer. He's already behind the wall. Now just ahead of his pit box is Bobby Labonte's, and they're working hard to get that oil dried up.
Just in case Bobby Labonte needs to make another pit stop. They certainly don't want him coming in, hitting that oil, either coming in or exiting. They're there with towels, shop towels, trying to sop that oil up off pit road.
Now, Jeff Burton was right behind Bobby Labonte a while ago, but he apparently backed off when he saw some smoke. Is that the case, Bill Weber?
Well, Bob, he might have seen it, but I'll tell you what was even more frightening for Burton and his crew is he actually drove through that oil. In fact, he got out of the gas, and radioed to his crew. He said, I think we gotta. Then he clicked off the radio, didn't say anything for about a half a lap, and then said, did somebody just blow up? And his spotter told him, yeah, the 23 did about a lap and a half ago. So Jeff continued driving and then said, I drove through some oil, but I think everything's okay. I'll tell you, the heart skipped a beat down here in the 99 pit.
And that lap that he got into the oil was about 10 miles an hour off the leader pace, but he is now back up to the leader pace. And another car that has gone behind the wall in the last 10 minutes is Jeffrey Bodine. John Kernan has that report.
Bob, remember we told you that Jeffrey had picked up a bad vibration. They thought it was the set of tires that they had on the car. They had asked Jeffrey to kind of hang on until they got into their fuel window to come in and make a pit stop. Right before they were getting ready to pit, Jeffrey radioed in and said something just broke. He rolled in without power. The engine shut down into the garage area. So apparently an engine problem for Jeffrey Bodine.
It's too bad because they were having a very good run here this afternoon. So Jeff Gordon now has the lead, and the interval between himself and the 18 car of Bobby Labonte here on the 218th lap is 4.6 seconds.
It was 5 1/4 seconds. So right now Bobby Labonte is getting a little bit closer, but I think that Jeff Gordon running across this traffic, see all those cars that he's passed, I think that's allowed Labonte to close the gap just a little bit. And as the Labonte passes those cars, then the gap should widen back out, in theory.
10 cars on the lead lap. Jeff Burton third. Tony Stewart, remember how he was up at about 4th position a while ago? Lost track position when he got loose in turn 2. He's now back up to 4th spot. Ward Burton is 5th. Then Dale Jarrett 6th. He may get a good finish out of this after all. The 12 car of Jeremy Mayfield is 7th. Then Terry Labonte, Wally Dallenbach, and Mike Skinner, those 10 on the lead lap. So Bobby Labonte now has about 5 seconds to close in on Jeff Gordon. The laps, however, are ticking away. 218 of 250 completed here in the California 500, presented by Napa. We'll take a break and be back with more live coverage here on ABC Sports.
The California 500, presented by Napa. Brought to you by Team Monte Carlo, Chevy, the cars more champions trust. Red Wing Shoes, work hard. And Lawn Boy, making mowing easier.
Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Bill Weber, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at California Speedway in Fontana. The Pennzoil Copter Cam showing you the facility here, located about 50 miles to the east of Los Angeles in what they call the Inland Empire. An old steel mill, and the only thing from the steel mill is the water tower located right in the middle of the racetrack. We saw Mark Martin drop out of the race a little bit earlier. Jerry is with Jimmy Finning.
Crew chief for Mark Martin. Jimmy, you pulled the car very quickly in the garage area. What happened?
Something let loose in the motor. We don't know if it was a rod or dropped the valve, but didn't give no warning. Mark just called on the radio as we drove.
I know he backed up a little bit that pit stop prior to coming in. Did he have a problem, or was the car handle just going away?
That last set of tires we had were a little bit too loose, so we just backed off to follow cars. We were going to tighten it up at the end and see what we had for 24 car, but I don't know if we had anything or not.
Anybody out there got anything for that 2-4?
I don't think so.
All right, Jimmy Finning calling the day here in the Valvoline Ford. Guys?
Looks like he's going to finish in about 38th position. Here's the Jimmy Dean Ford summary and the manufacturer's battle. The leading Chevrolet at the moment is, of course, Gordon, and 4 Chevys are in the top 10, 5 in the top 12. As far as Pontiacs are concerned, 3 in the top 5 with Bobby Labonte, but we are watching right now the best. But Chevy, thanks to Jeff Gordon, has led the most laps here this afternoon. Gordon has been in front 126 circuits.
There's their second place car, Bobby Labonte going by. There's a third place car, points leader, the Exide Ford, Jeff Burton. He's now about 2 seconds behind Bobby Labonte, but a great deal of traffic he's got to try to get through to get to Labonte.
And there are only 24 more laps to go. Benny, the young rookie from Rushville, Indiana, has battled his way back up to 4th position. We're talking, of course, of Tony Stewart.
It's really amazing because he got shuffled and went to go back to 8th or 9th position, lost all those. He's fought his way back, and you're right, Bob, he's down 4 spots.
Comparing Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon's first 9 races, Stewart has a pole, Jeff didn't. They have an equal number of top 10s. Gordon had way more top 5 finishes in his first 9 races, and Tony has had 3, Jeff 4 top 10s in the first 9 races, but Tony is 7th in the points, and Jeff in his rookie year was 11th at this point in the season.
Right now, Tony Stewart in the Home Depot Pontiac is about 20 seconds behind the leader, Jeff Gordon.
There is Jeff completing lap number 228, and his advantage over Bobby Labonte is 5.39 seconds. Burton, Stewart, Ward Burton, Dale Jarrett, Jeremy Mayfield, Terry Labonte, Wally Dallenbach, and Mike Skinner are the top 10. Less than 18 laps to go in the 3rd annual California 500 presented by Napa. ESPN continues its countdown of the top 50 North American athletes of the past century on Sports Century Friday night at 10:30. And BP, for those of us who grew up in the 50s and early 60s, not a greater hero than the Mick, who will be featured on Friday night.
Mickey Mantle. Met him one time. What a huge thrill that was.
Wow, I'll bet.
Sure was.
Friday night at 10:30 over on ESPN. Jeff Gordon now with a 5.3 second lead over Bobby Labonte, but the good battle on the racetrack right now is between the 88 and the 22. Ward Burton and Dale Jarrett have been going at it for the last few laps.
Dale Jarrett has taken that spot away, moved into the 5th spot, but he didn't do it very easily. Ward Burton fought awfully hard. What you going to do next weekend, Bob? Mom's Day is coming up.
NASCAR Winston Cup does not run next weekend, but old BP will be working.
Yes, I will. The truck race, Memphis, Tennessee, Saturday afternoon. I'll tell you what, folks, the NASCAR Craft Truck Series, some great racing going on there.
There's Ward Burton, who is back to 6th position. There is Jeff, who is continuing to lead. Where's the 18 in 2nd position? There he is, and again, there's a lot of cars between him and Jeff.
Jeff Burton has gotten by him.
Yeah,
Jeff Burton has moved into 2nd spot.
Bill Weber has more.
And the reason he got around the 18 is because Bobby Labonte about 4 laps ago radioed in, "I have lost all grip," meaning his tires just won't adhere to the racetrack. He can't run the line he wants. He has to drive a little slower. But Burton was charging, and they told Jeff a few laps ago he's cut Gordon's lead from 8 seconds to 5. They admitted that Gordon maybe was going to get cautious. That will certainly inspire a driver with 15 to go.
An AutoZone on-track interval will confirm that, Bill. 7.3 on lap 230 and 5.4 separation on 234.
Look at how consistent Jeff Burton was. 41.4 to 41.2. And Jeff Gordon had some good laps at 41.4. But you see now he's tailed off to 41.8, about a half second per lap slower than Jeff Burton.
Throughout a great portion of this race, Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton staged a great duel. Jeff Burton got a lap down, but he is now back in position to possibly challenge Jeff Gordon for the win here. It's far from over. There are 14 more laps to go in the California 500. From the Pennzoil Copter Cam high over California Speedway, we see Jeff Gordon has just completed the 241st lap, meaning there are now less than 9 laps to go. And his interval over Jeff Burton is 3 3/4 seconds. There is Jeff, who has never finished worse than 5th here at California Speedway. He's competed in 2 NASCAR Winston Cup races, finishing 1st the first year and 4th last year. And in the 2 IROC races he has competed in, he finished 5th in '97 and 3rd last year.
Tell you what, Jeff Burton is now, as you said, Bob, only 3 3/4 seconds behind Jeff Gordon. But remember when he ran across that oil from Jimmy Spencer's car, he must have lost 5 or 6 seconds trying to get that car under control. And here he is, just 3.5 seconds now, 3.67 seconds behind Jeff Gordon. But now Jeff Burton, he's got two things going wrong. He's got cars that he's got to get by, lap cars he's got to get by. Plus, there's only about 7.5 laps to go.
And Jeff Gordon, who was running laps around 171, now in clearer traffic, is back up to 173.6. But Jeff Burton ran a 173.8 last lap. Here comes Jeff Gordon down the straightaway here to lap some more cars. And among them that he will be probably passing here again is the 66 of Darrell Waltrip, who is only one lap down in 15th spot. He lost a lap very early in the race and has been on the lead lap ever since. There is Burton. And you can see the number of cars between him and Jeff.
And you see the interval that time, 3.98 seconds. Right now, Jeff Gordon's in some traffic trying to get by the, I guess that's Rich Bickle automobile. Here comes Jeff Burton. But you know, Burton he can't take too many chances because after all, he is the NASCAR Winter Cup points leader, which pays about $1.5 million bonus at the end of the year if he can stay there.
At this point last year in the season, Jeff Burton was 16th in the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings and is the leader this year.
And we see that Jeff Burton gained almost 2/3 of a second that time as Jeff Gordon struggled trying to pass those cars on the back. But right now, Jeff Burton is simply just running out of time.
5.5 laps to go for Jeff Gordon. He won the Daytona 500 this year, and he won at Atlanta. Finished 38th after being involved in a crash at Talladega Speedway last week here on ABC. 5 laps to go. And the interval is 3.2 seconds. Jeff Burton, on the other hand, has 7 career wins. He won earlier this year at Las Vegas and Darlington, helping him establish his points lead. Bobby Labonte still running third, then Tony Stewart and Dale Jarrett up in the top 5 now. Here's a Jimmy Dean field summary, and again we're showing you the points positions. Mark Martin has lost 2 positions because he is already out of the race and is going to finish back around 38th position. Stewart up 1, Terry Labonte up 1, Rusty Wallace down 2. He is in 11th position, a lap down.
Jeremy Mayfield's up 2 positions, and back to see Wallen Dallenbach with his great run today has gained 3 spots in the points if he can stay there. But when this thing ends, as we see Jeff Burton trying to go by John Andretti, he's now just 3 seconds behind the leader. But this time by, Jeff Gordon will be given the signal. Only 3 laps to go.
6 miles of competition left for Jeff Gordon as he comes down and hits the stripe. Jeff Gordon will attract a crowd everywhere he goes, and look at the crowd that's gathered around Jeff Gordon's pit area.
Wow.
Victory Lane is directly across from there, so it's not going to be much of a walk for Ray Evernham, who's never stops worrying, although there's only less than 3 more laps to go. Anything can happen in the last 2 seconds. Here is Gordon up to put Darrell Waltrip 2 laps down, and Darrell has had a very good race in 15th.
As a matter of fact, Kenny Schrader right in front of Darrell Waltrip is in 14th spot. And the 28 car is in 13th. If Darrell could get up there in these next 2 laps and pass those guys, he'd gain a couple of spots.
A lap and a half to go for Jeff Gordon. 3.1 seconds, the interval now between him and Jeff Burton. Burton still has a few more cars to clear. Gordon has put the 10th place car of Mike Skinner a lap down, so there are 9 now on the lead lap. Running in 9th position is Terry Labonte.
You know, Jeff Gordon and Evernham and this crew, when they came, white flag is out for Jeff Gordon. When they came to California Speedway, Bobby, it looked like they just had fire in their eyes because it had some trouble at Talladega. They'd been in a crash, and all of a sudden they're 200 points behind. Saturday morning, that car hit the racetrack, it looked like, wow, we're here to try to win this baby, and it looks like he's going to do it. Half lap to go.
DuPont Chevy down the backstretch for the final time. Jeff Gordon from Pittsboro, Indiana, looking for his 45th career win. The car is in turn number 3. Now off of corner number 4, recording his 3rd victory in 1999 and becoming the first repeat winner of California Speedway. Jeff Gordon wins the California 500 presented by Napa. The Rainbow Warriors celebrate the victory. Daytona, Atlanta. Victories earlier this year, and now Jeff Gordon wins at California. We'll be back to talk with him in just a moment. Gordon wins. More after these messages. And a word from our ABC stations. In his 199th career NASCAR Winston Cup race, Jeff Gordon records his 45th victory and 34th on a super speedway. While it doesn't happen every place we go, there's a huge round of applause for Jeff Gordon in victory lane. Here's the